Hi, guys. Happy Saturday. Hopefully it is stopped snowing in Colorado.
Yeah.
And hopefully there's air conditioning in Texas. I was reading some of the comments. And if you're anywhere here on the East Coast, it is a damp and gloomy day. And we're expecting warm weather tomorrow and thunderstorms. So, which is just so weird at this time of year. We don't usually get it, but it is the May Long, what we Canadians refer to as the May Long, which is the Victoria Day, Queen Victoria's birthday.
Family Day.
It's Queen Victoria's.
I thought it was Family Day.
No, it's not Family Day.
I thought it was
Family Day is in August.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh.
So, yeah. So today is, this weekend is the May Long. Typically, this is a weekend where people do a lot of yard work. They also do their gardening and they put their flowers out because it's ordinarily about the time when we don't get frost anymore. And I thought that was interesting because we had a frost warning last night. So generally, by this time of year, it is safe to start putting your flowers and your plants out in your garden and whatnot. So, but we are running a little behind this year. It's a little cooler than usual, but apparently we're in for a hot spell this week. So we shall see.
It's also National Patriots Day.
National Patriots Day?
Yeah.
Is that a U.S. holiday or Canadian?
No, that is a Canadian holiday.
Really?
Yes.
So I could be bedecked in maple leaves today and I would be okay.
Yes.
Yeah. I am not bedecked in maple leaves today. I am bedecked in skulls.
Are you wearing the skull leggings?
No, I don't have my skull leggings on. I had those on yesterday. Kind of got some weird looks from the neighbors, but it's not Halloween. It's all good. Check out this great little pendant my daughter made for me for Mother's Day. It's gorgeous. So cool. Nice little skull, lots of flowers. It's really pretty. And I got pampered on Mother's Day.
Yes, she did.
I did. They made meals. They pampered me. And he gave me a beautiful gift. A gorgeous Celtic pendant. I mean, just gorgeous. Gold, rose gold, and sterling silver. It's just beautiful.
All the way from Ireland.
All the way from Ireland. It's gorgeous. So, yeah, I was very spoiled on Mother's Day. And my daughter made me this gorgeous little sugar skull pendant, which I absolutely love. So, I was pampered. And I did get Happy Mail this week.
What'd you get?
I got another box of colored pencils.
Another box of colored pencils? Well, do you have plans?
I do have plans.
I did see the how to draw puppies.
Yes, I got a book. Well, it's not how to draw. It's just, I don't do a lot of animals. I never have. Drawing a lot. It's never been a forte. And there is a gift to it, creating that texture and those elements inside animal. Anyway, neither here nor there. I registered to take a workshop on wildlife, on animals in general. The first project in it is a raven. It's an absolutely gorgeous project. And it's working in black. And when I went through the supply list, I discovered, even though I have a bazillion colored pencils, I discovered that out of the 12 colors that were required, I only had 2 of them. So I had to go looking for them. And well, as luck would have it, I wasn't able to find the individual pencils. So I ended up buying another set of pencils. And that took a while to find them to make sure that I had the colors that I needed. Anyway, I got a set of Derwent colored pencils this week, set of 24. I'm really excited about that. And so now I'll be able to do my colored pencil course. And then this was like my... You know what it's like? You're on Amazon.
Uh-oh.
And you come across something and you go, oh, I need that. Read the sign.
They can't see the sign. Your head's in front of it.
The joy of botanical drawing. I was so excited to find this. It's an absolutely gorgeous book. It's an instructional book on using colored pencil and watercolor pencils for botanicals. So I was really excited about that. So that was my little splurge this week. It wasn't too bad, actually. I thought it was going to be really expensive. The book was $30 Canadian. And on sale on Amazon, they had it 20% off. So I ended up, nice little deal. I was quite happy with that.
What does the sign say?
Oh, the sign over my shoulder, they can't see it.
No, your head's in the way.
No, my head's in the way. I'll go that
there
way.
We go.
Yeah.
It isn't
not-
hoarding if it's craft supplies.
It's not hoarding if it's art supplies. So that was my happy mail this week. I was so excited to get that. So a new box of Derwent color pencils and the joy of botanical drawing. Oh, my eyes are so itchy.
Why are they? Why itchy?
Well, they're not going to be able to see this, but this is clearing up finally.
Yeah.
Finally. I spent most of the week looking like I
Johnny.
went 10 rounds with George Foreman. I had quite the eyeball.
I was gonna make a Johnny Depp reference. but-
Please don't do that. We are not opening that can of worms. I mean, everybody is just like glued to that. It's just, I mean, I sort of drop in, check on it, and go, seriously?
It's ridiculous.
It's
is what
ridiculous. It's gotten to the point of being asinine, but
It's almost like bad reality TV.
it's getting there. Yeah, it is getting there. So today we're going to be playing with, I think this is a fun piece.
Is that
This
it
is-
for Happy Meal?
That was it for Happy Meal
That was
this
it?
week. Yep.
Oh,
Lots of parcels, though. I had parcels, but it's all stuff for the website. This is the piece that we're doing today. This is Life is Better by the Sea. This is a fun one. This one is not difficult to do. It's an older design. It was one of my first cover pieces. First piece I ever had on the cover of a magazine. And it was Paintworks going back, at least 10 years. I think it was at least 10 years. Anyway, it was always been one of my favorite projects. And I thought it would be fun to do it because I've never taught it. I thought it would be fun to do. But it needed an update because a lot of the products that I had used in the original piece simply aren't available anymore. And then I thought it would be fun just to sort of kick it up a notch and throw in a couple more, perhaps some more unique techniques. And so we're going to be doing Life is Better by the Sea. And this is such a fun one. If you're a beachy person like I am, if you love the ocean and the beach, then I think you're going to love this one. And the techniques are fun. So that is what we are doing today. The surface that I used is from Cupboard Distributing, so you can find that at cdwood.com. In just a second, I will give you an item number because that would make life so much simpler. If I'd really been smart, I'd have written it on a note
rather than the entire
rather
pattern.
than filter through the entire pattern. Okay. It's called the Grooved Tombstone Plaque, and the SKU number is 31-L478. Is the item number. You can find that on cdwood.com. Lindsay and Chris are phenomenal. If you can't find something, send them a quick message through the website. They'll be more than happy to help you locate it. And if I'm not mistaken, I think they have them on sale this week. Just saying.
There you go.
Just saying.
We actually had somebody wondering. No shout outs this week.
No shout out this week. Well, part of the problem is that I have had a busy week.
Yes.
And I just completely slipped my mind until this morning. So the shout out for this week is Tombow again. I got all my Tombow stuff in. I was so excited. I love my mechanical pencils. Love them. So, yeah. So if you're killing time, got something, want to kill a little bit of time, go and check out tombowusa.com. And go into the instructional material. They've got great downloads in there. So they've got tons of stuff in there. There's line drawings, there's stuff to color, there's lettering tutorials, all kinds of great stuff on the Tombow website at tombowusa.com. All right.
So,
What am I missing?
did you get your hair cut?
Yes, I lowered my ears.
You lowered your. Okay.
It was getting pretty shaggy.
They're liking your haircut.
Oh, good. I'm glad. I'm liking it better. It's not in my face. I was just driving me insane.
Yeah, I hate
I-
when that happens.
I came this close to breaking out the clippers and just going, ying!
No.
But I thought, no, that would not go over well. Everybody would be worrying about, are you okay? I'm fine. It was funny. The thing that popped up on my Facebook memories the other day was the thing about my little incident in the bathroom in New York City.
Oh yes.
So
The bathroom of death.
the bathroom of death. I crap like this can only happen to me. when I'm traveling, it seems like, stuff happens to me all the time.
Ooh, Marjorie Eaton is celebrating 8 months in the membership.
Yes, I know. And
8
we've got a
months.
bunch of them are coming up on 1 year,
Uh-oh.
which
Haven't
was
seen a single pallet yet.
is what brings me to what I was busy doing this week. I was busy putting the final touches on the design for the membership group this week. Brace yourself. That's all I'm going to say.
Brace yourself.
I got a little carried away, just a little. The membership group project for the month of June, it's our full year. In June, we will be a full year as the membership group. And I wanted to do something special. I wanted to do something that you haven't done yet. It does involve some flowers. Some. They are not, however, the main feature of this project. It is also a larger project than what you're accustomed to. It will be a little bit bigger than what you ordinarily get. And it involves the human form. So I don't want to scare you, but it is going to be a little more complex than some of the things that we've done so far. Some of them, speaking of Marjorie Eaton, they've been painting the challenge for this month. And so some of them are flipping awesome. So I'm so excited about seeing you guys post those on the Facebook page. And a couple have popped up in the community tab as well on the YouTube channel. So I'm really excited about that.
Judy Thacker's wondering if there's a title for the membership piece.
There is. And the title is called Sakura Geisha.
Ooh.
So
Put
just
two
let
and two
that
together.
steep back there for a while. The title of
Let the gears
the
turn.
design is called Sakura Geisha. So there you have it. So we're going to have some fun with that. I also have been working on 2 new patterns. I got a new teapot coming up next week. And I've got another new beachy themed sign coming up this week.
She's been busy.
I've been busy. So, and a few other things I've been working on. So no rest for the wicked, they say. So we're going to be painting Life is Better by the Sea. I love painting this particular one. This one is so much fun. The bulk of the work in this one is actually in the background. The bird itself is pretty straightforward. It's a very simple palette. It's gray, white, black, a little bit of asphaltum and a little bit of Bahama blue. It's a very simple palette. But the fun stuff, the really intricate and interesting stuff is all in the background. So if you guys are ready to get started, so am I.
Let's rock and roll.
So this is our line drawing. Now, when I did the pattern for this piece, you can print the line drawing. There is a copy that has to be printed on an 8.5 by 14, which is the legal size format. But I also included an 8.5 by 11. So if your printer isn't capable of doing the 8.5 by 14, just print it out in an 8.5 by 11, and then you can enlarge it by 50. And that will give you this size for this surface. So I had a little bit of fun doing this one. I wanted it to be a functional pattern. So it's something that you didn't have to work too hard with. So my surface is prepped. I got stuck on there now.
You might have to push to the right a little bit. There you go.
So my surface is prepped. I have 1 coat of warm white on this surface. I kind of like the warm white for this. It just sort of acts like a primer. It is not a pretty finish. It's 1 coat, just enough to give us a ground. That's it. And the color that we're going to work with is Cobblestone. This is sort of a warm gray. This one came out in 2020. But if you don't have this, Dove Gray will work. You can use burlap if you want to. Khaki tan, something along that line. It just needs something, in this tonal value. It really doesn't matter if it's an exact match. The stencil that I'm using is this one. This one is from Tim Holtz. This is the Tim Holtz wood grain stencil. I really liked this one. I did find a couple of small issues with it, this being one of them. It's a lot of open space, and so it tends to want to move around a bit. So you're going to want to make sure that you tape it into place. So this is how I did this. So we're going to tape that stencil down.
Somebody caught the tier tray that you got in the back for your media.
Oh, for my media
acrylics.
paints? Those are actually from Creative Arts Lifestyle from Patricia Rawlinson's website.
Actually, I was going to bring this up since you brought up her name.
Yeah.
She's actually got a sugar skull stencil now.
I know. I know. I got very excited when I saw that.
Were you looking at it?
Of course I was.
Did you buy it?
Not yet.
Why not?
Why not?
Yeah, why not? Why didn't you buy it?
Because I have a list.
Oh. It's the ever-growing list?
It's the ever-growing list. So the color I'm using is this cobblestone. As I said, you can use Dove Gray. You can use pretty much whatever you want, as long as in that tonal value. If you don't have this one, use whatever you have on hand. Slate gray will work. Any gray value will be fine for this.
2 questions.
Okay.
What size is the board?
This one is, I believe, okay. I believe it's
an
9 by 14.
9 by
I
14.
think.
Yeah.
They do have the small one, but they have the larger one.
And would the wood grain stamp work for this?
Yes, it would. It would work just fine for this. This is just a fun technique. I wanted to use something a little bit different. And I kind of liked this stencil. Wood grain stencils are really persnickety because they got a lot of open, long, loose, and open spaces. And so they tend to wiggle around a lot. So they're a royal pain in the patoot. But once you start getting paint on, you're okay. So I found myself trying to follow the grain instead of working in a circular fashion. I found myself trying to follow the grain so that the stencil doesn't move, and then I don't get that blurred effect.
I'll be watching the replay later, busy cleaning the house and decluttering before a visit next week from the grandkids.
Woo, grandbabies. You do know that once the grandbabies are there, that house is going to be right back where it started. But decluttering I get. Now, the fun part about this is that this wood grain does not have to be perfect. It does not have to be, absolutely spot on. So I taped it in place so I can take a peek at it. That looks good. I kind of like that it's a little faint in some spots. That works for me. So I'm going to move my stencil. Now, the one thing I did learn about the stencil is it doesn't really line up all that well, and that's okay. It doesn't continue. I even tried it the other way around, and it just, doing this, it just didn't work all that well. So
no, you get the complete opposite of what you had there.
Yeah, I just kind of lined it up close enough, and taped it in place. I don't want the stencil to move around much. And then that's it. You just continue until you get that wood grain over the whole surface. It's going to look a little gaudy.
I saw somebody was out on a road trip in their RV.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah. Norma Luther.
Norma Luther.
Hello, Tracy and Renee. So nice to tune in on the road pulling our RV for summer. Oh, pulling our RV for the summer in the Finger Lakes?
Finger Lakes region.
Finger Lakes region. Of New York State. Here in Fredericksburg, Virginia right now.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Now there is a pretty area.
Fredericksburg?
Virginia is a beautiful part of the United States.
I don't know if they're on the road or they're just getting ready to go on the road.
I don't know. But it is a very pretty part of the States. Virginia.
I don't think I could do RV life.
Oh, I know.
Not with people, anyway.
I couldn't do it. I'd
get an RV and fill it with dogs. And just drive around the country and, a mobile adoption agency. I go to random SPCAs and humane societies throughout Canada picking up, dogs who've been there a while.
And relocate them to their new homes.
Yeah, and go around the country and set them out for adoption.
Cool.
That'd be a good. Oh, that's it. I'd love doing that. I'd have an RV full of dogs.
Yeah. None of them would get adopted because you'd adopt them.
Foster.
Yeah. You can, whatever. You call it whatever you want. I know the truth.
But I think that'd be a good idea.
Yeah.
Because, some dogs in certain areas don't do well.
No, that's very true.
Pit bulls in inner cities,
Yeah.
most of them get put down.
That's just awful.
It's sad, but it's true.
Yeah.
But a pit bull in the countryside, in a rural area, say, I don't know, Alberta or New Brunswick, depending on the township in New Brunswick, some have breed legislation. But taking inner city dogs out into the country, whoo,
How fun.
that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
And then taking country dogs into the city, because sometimes people get what they think is the perfect, farm dog.
Yep.
It's not. I have a Great Dane. No.
No. Maybe not.
Not a farm dog. It's barely an inner city dog.
So I'm just going to line up. We've got so much going into this over top of all of this that it doesn't really matter if they line up perfectly or not. You're not going to really see it at any distance anyhow. So I love that this works so well. You could use a stamp. There's a variety of them. Stampendous has some. Tim Holtz has a wood grain stamp. There's all kinds of them. If you really want to get down in that creative rabbit hole, go and check out Stampers Anonymous. Oh, such a dangerous place to go.
There's a guy in the United States that already does that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Renee, you can't go and do that until you figure out a way to be with us on Saturdays.
That's true.
Okay. Well, okay, now we know the limitations. I have to be here on Saturdays.
Yep. You could be anywhere else.
Well, with the amazing pieces of technology we have nowadays, I could probably do what I'm doing right now remotely.
That's true. That is very true.
I showed her how to do it all through her phone.
Yep. It's much more fun if easier to do it, though.
Yeah.
So I've got a little gap down here at the bottom. So I'm just going to line up my stencil, kinda, so that it overlaps just a little bit. And then, so you can see this doesn't have to be perfect. Ta-da!
Oh,
What?
Mr. Asher does it?
Mr. Who?
Mr. Asher. He's a animal behavioralist and dog trainer.
Oh,
He's no, he doesn't do that, does he?
wouldn't be surprised.
Now you have me curious.
So this is what I love about doing this particular finish, because we're going to be doing so much over top of it. We don't really need, that crisp, clean, absolutely perfect stencil. I just didn't like that kind of blurred, hazy, messy thing. And so that's why I'm deviating from my usual circular fashion, change directions frequently, and going to this, more of a vertical brush on technique, because that stencil is pretty flimsy.
He does. Look at that. Oh, he got a Nikita in the back of his car right now. He just finished dropping off 2 cats that were from Oregon.
There we go. And pull off this. So look how cool that looks. I think this is really cool.
So he drives all over the country, picking up strays and abandoned dogs and cats, and he finds them homes.
Nice.
And it's not like putting out ads. He's actively going out and finding a home for these animals.
Cool.
That's awesome. I believe he's got a book out on animal behavior as well. So.
Well, got to pay for all that driving somehow. Did you see
Yup.
the price of gas? Holy
No
crap.
kidding. Had 2 Great Danes on our acreage until they decided to make our caves friends. What? Friend in Northwest Territories took them to the farm with no cattle. Okay.
So, there we go. So that actually is pretty cool. I kind of like that. So we've got that, that kind of rustic looking wood grain all over everything. And that's just done with the cobblestone. Now, I'm going to dry this real quick just to make sure it's good and dry. I'm not too worried about this little gap down here because by the time we're finished, you'll never see it anyway. Now, this kind of doing this piece kind of parlayed me into some other thoughts, which can be dangerous for me. And I ended up going through all of my faux finishing tools, and I ended up throwing out a bunch of wood graining tools because they were just beyond repair. And then I was looking for one of my newer graining rockers. I could not find it, so I ordered another one from Amazon because I want to do something a little bit larger, but I thought it'd be fun if we did something using that more traditional wood graining rocker. So I have plans. So I'm going to give this a light sanding. Don't need too much. I'm using the finer side of this. I just wanted to smooth this out a little bit. There we go. Looks pretty good. It's very busy. It's very, very busy.
So he brings a lot of dogs from Sacramento SPCA out to Oregon.
Nice.
Now he lives in a beautiful spot in Oregon. I don't blame him. Oregon
is gorgeous.
Oregon is a gorgeous place. You get a nice touch of prairies and the mountains and a little bit of taste of everything.
I killed another bottle of warm white yesterday.
Of course you did. What'd you do? You leave it open?
No, I used it.
Oh.
All of it.
Wow.
I've been noticed I've been using a lot of warm white lately. And so I'm going to grab my fugly brush and we're going to thin out some warm white. And we're going to put a wash of said warm white.
Oh, calves.
Calves.
Not caves.
Calves.
Calves. Gotcha.
So I'm just putting a wash of thinned warm white over top of that wood grain. Just to soften it a little bit. I don't want to bury it completely, but I do want to soften it a little bit. And I'm using my fugly brush because I like the texture it creates. Just some fine stria in that wash. There we go. I like it. And now I'm going to dry this. And we're going to repeat this, but this time around we're going to use some Bahama Blue over top of this. Thin it out. So just that little bit of white really softened how that gray looks, so it's not quite so harsh.
The little jar has got Joe Sonia's fast drying glaze in it.
Yes, that's
what she uses to thin and...
That is my everything medium.
Yeah, that's her everything
for
medium.
everything. So I've got a little bit of Bahama Blue. And I'm going to put a little of that on my palette.
Are you on tea?
Yep, I have tea.
You have tea?
I'm good.
I ran out of coffee.
So now I'm going to thin out some of that Bahama Blue. Now, if you don't have Bahama Blue, Aqua Sky will do the job admirably. And then I'm going to go right over top of all of this, pulling this color vertically. Just like that. It's so pretty. I love Bahama Blue. Anything beachy gets Bahama Blue. I just love, love, love this color. And I also love how it subdues that gray yet again. And I've thinned it out pretty good. You don't want this color full strength. You don't want to bury it all. You just want to all the trouble of putting it on. And I do kind of like the irregularities when you put this on. You can see that there's, areas where it's not quite perfect, that it pulled a little. And I like that. I like that it has those little flaws in it. And then we're going to dry this. And then we're going to put perhaps another coat of Bahama Blue. We'll see how it looks when I've got this dry. But if I need another coat of Bahama Blue, I will put another thin coat over top. And then we're going to put a final wash of warm white over it. And that's just going to tone everything, just to soften it all. And it's going to give it that dry, weather-worn appearance, which is what we're aiming for. I want a really beachy look for this. I love this color. And this is just a fun project. You can sit down and do this in an afternoon. So almost there. Just want to make sure everything's dry. We have some really great giveaways today. We're changing things up a little bit. Mainly because Facebook keeps changing things and YouTube keeps changing things. So we're going to change things up just a little bit. So if you want to get your name entered for those giveaways, hit that share button. That's what I'm going to ask you to do, is hit that share button. And of course, if you're not already subscribed to the YouTube channel, we'd appreciate it if you joined us, as always. And turn on your bell notifications so that we know that, or so that we can make sure that you know when we go live again and when we post videos. Okay, I think we are dry. I'm going to give this one more coat, I think. It's not quite subtle enough yet for me, but we're getting there. Ah, yes, there we go. So I'm going to put that one light wash of Bahama Blue over top. I'm going to pick up a little more glaze here. I love the irregularities that this creates. And it sort of softens things dramatically, which I really love. So there we go. We've got nice coat of Bahama Blue. I'm just going to move this around so it's a bit more. There we go. And we'll dry this, and then we're going to put that light wash of warm white. I know on camera it looks like it's obliterated it, but I can assure you there is a lot of wood grain showing. A little bit. So we're going to dry this. So, yep, we're going to put all of those that hit that share button, both on Facebook and on the YouTube channel. If you're watching on YouTube, if you hit the share button, all of those that shared, your name is going to go into that
So share it.
wheel for the giveaways. I have Facebook changes things and YouTube changes things, and it's the shares that make all the difference for us. So the more you share, the more it helps us keep so that we can keep going doing this. And then of course we want to share all of the goodies that some of the people that support us send us. So we've got lots of goodies today. We have a stamp set from Stampendous. We have 3 of them to give away. And in that package, we've got some Dynasty Encaustics, a round and a flat, plus some other little goodies that we always include in our giveaways. So I'm going to thin out some warm white, and we're going to subdue this one last time. And I have to be careful that I don't overdo it with the white. I get a little heavy-handed. So I'm just going to... I've got a fair amount on my brush, so I'm going to move that around so that I get the look I want. And oh, wow, I love it. I got a little too much white on here. There we go. So that little bit of white, I know it looks like a lot when you look at it on camera, but that little bit of white is going to subdue. Yeah, baby. There we go. Should have.
Oh, you did a password change, right? No, we're logged in.
No, I haven't changed it. Not since the last time.
What is with that picture?
What? There we go. So, I've got that white on there. I don't think it's showing up on camera, but you can still see a lot of the wood grain.
What kind of wood is that?
This is just a piece of MDF.
It's a mixture of bunch of woods.
Yeah, it's just a piece of MDF. And it has a little, like a laser etched groove in it. I'm going to make that pop out a little bit more.
Ooh, 39 shares.
Nice.
So far.
So far. So yeah, hit that share button so you get entered in those drawings.
And for the YouTube people, you can share to all the platforms that you have access to.
Yep.
Facebook, I think you can only share on Facebook, right?
And Instagram.
And Instagram.
Yep.
Go ahead and share it on Instagram.
Yeah.
Never know who might show up.
Yep. You can share it on Pinterest. You can share it wherever. So there's a rabbit hole I went down yesterday.
Oh no. Is it worse than the TikTok rabbit hole?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh.
You can be gone for days. You can get lost in Pinterest. I went to Pinterest out of curiosity mainly, just to see how many followers I had on Pinterest. So about 3,000 people that follow me on Pinterest. And when I say it's a rabbit hole, you can set up boards on Pinterest and then you can save pin things to each of those boards, whatnot. I have over like 150 boards on Pinterest. And 11,000 people visit my Pinterest page every month. I'm like, really? Because there's a lot of crap on my... There's a lot of stuff on my Pinterest page. I've come to the conclusion that I'm probably like adult ADHD.
Oh,
I wouldn't be a bit surprised if somebody were to tell me
ADHD
that.
doesn't leave you from childhood.
No, I know, but I wouldn't be a bit surprised if somebody told me that I was based on my Pinterest.
I've been tested.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
What is it that Sheldon says? I'm not crazy. My mother had me tested. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Nobody had me tested.
It's a WebMD diagnosis?
No, I'm just, it's funny because you look at the list of things that they require in order to make that diagnosis, and you can see a lot of yourself in it when you read the list.
It's either ADHD or cancer.
Yeah, that seems to be
That's WebMD.
that's WebMD.
Yeah.
No,
It's
I
either
don't go
cancer
there.
or ADHD.
So I want to accentuate these little grooves that are in here. So I'm just using a round brush, and I thinned out a little bit of asphaltum. I know, shock. And I'm just using a small round brush just to stroke in a little color, just to make them stand out a little bit better.
I think Renee tests you daily.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'll admit it.
He tests my temper, tests my patience, tests my sense of humor on a regular basis.
Oh, we all know it's dark.
Yeah, and twisted.
Dark, twisted.
You get it from somewhere.
Childlike. I still find farts funny.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are, farts are funny.
Unless you're in the room. Yeah. Dot. That's not funny. Oh my God.
She let out a good one in the backyard today. It even caused the neighbor to go,
What was that?
that was the dog. Don't blame the dog.
Yeah.
It was
That's
the dog.
Yeah. Oh, I made a mess. That's okay.
LTE. Well, this is my first live with you, but I feel like I fit right in.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome. You're in for a bumpy ride.
So I've just taken a little bit of thinned asphaltum. I just want to make these grooves stand out a bit more. So I'm just sort of putting a little wash of color in there. I'm not worried about whether or not it's perfect because these are going to be distressed and
I'm missing the Facebook
kind of
post.
wonky. So that's all good. And when I put my base coat on, I didn't really pay much attention to those grooves, so I didn't really get good coverage in there anyway. So it's all good. I'm just throwing a little asphaltum in there. I do love how this looks.
Debbie.
Which Debbie?
My dog can clear a room really fast.
Yeah. Dot's pretty good at that too. The funny part is because Dot has limited sensation in her hindquarters. She's usually as surprised as the rest of us. Wow, that was really loud.
Was that me?
Yeah. Yeah, she's always looking back at her derriere going, did you do that?
Was that me or you?
Yeah. She's so funny. Okay, so that little bit of asphaltum accentuated all of those little grooves in there. So now we have 4 distinct boards on our piece, and we're going to accentuate that a little bit further. And I'm going to use a nice big angled brush for this. And of course some Jostonia.
What is this? That's only because you haven't been in my house. Okay.
So I'm going to take a little bit of asphaltum and I'm going to go all the way around the outside edge like so. Neatness doesn't count. Perfection is to be avoided at all costs. And if you think I don't mean that, you're mistaken.
I got kicked out of Facebook, had to go on YouTube.
Oh.
Gotta love the security settings on Facebook.
So I've got a nice little float of asphaltum all the way around the outside edge. Again, I am not really concerned about whether or not it's perfect. Honestly, I don't care. I just want to age these edges and corners a little bit. Just a little. So I'm going to dry this. And then we're going to do a little bit on those edges of each of the boards. Darkest value towards the gap.
Oh, that's not a subject
Ooh.
I want to get into.
So, all along each of those gaps, darkest value towards the space. It's just a weak float. We're not putting a ton of color on there. So it's Saturday, which means I'm not cooking today, which I find rather funny, considering that I spent, 45 minutes this morning getting the ground beef ready for hamburgers tonight. Hamburgers that I'm not cooking.
You're not cooking them.
I'm not
They
cooking.
always taste better when you don't cook them.
Wow. Thank you.
Not, that's not what I meant.
Your mouth is a size 8.
I meant in general, not you cooking them when
Yeah.
when you don't cook it yourself. It always tastes better.
Okay, that's what you meant.
Yes.
That is not what you said.
Sometimes it tastes better when you don't have to put the work in.
There you go.
I'm not making dinner either. And no,
So there, we've got. Now we have individual aged boards. And we are just about ready to trace and transfer our seagull on. Ta-da! Now, that's not the right one. That was my... Here we go. Anyway. So we are going to position this. Now, I like to have my seagull more to the left. So essentially, I want about 2 fingers from the edge to the end of his beak. That's what I like to see. And then I have this set up so that the bottom of the sheet of paper lines up with the bottom of it, of the surface. And then if you come down to this section here, which is the furthest most point, the bottom end of the A on the word C, it's 2 fingers from the edge. So it's 2 fingers from the end of the beak to the edge of the panel, and then 2 fingers from the end of the A to the edge of the panel, and this lines up along the bottom, and we are good to go. So I'm going to tape this into place. I do not want this to shift. I'm going to make sure it's on there pretty good. And then we are ready for our graphite. This is a super easy one to paint. So I have a nice piece of rather well-worn gray graphite because I don't want this to be super dark. And I'm going to slide that into place. And I'm going to grab my red gel pen. And I'm going to grab a 6-inch ruler because I want my lettering nice and straight. And then we're going to start by tracing our seagull. Now, if you're wondering where the inspiration for this little guy came from, in my master bath, I have this carving. He's made out of wood. Picked him up on a vacation one year. I just fell in love with him. I thought he was just such a dignified looking fellow. But I really liked him. And then, of course, I have a little collection of seashells that I keep with him in the master bath in this house. I don't know what it is that people got to put beachy stuff or sea stuff or, everybody decorates one bathroom with seashells and seahorses and things like that. I don't know why, but probably because it's full of water. But
all sorts of water.
But that little fella he just spoke to me. And so he came home with me after a trip to the beach, and he's inspired quite a few things.
That was actually her very first YouTube video, was a video of an eagle.
It was, actually.
Yeah. An eagle eating a fish.
Yep.
Well, Well, you guys were out
We were in Shediac.
Shediac.
Yeah. And we were a good mile and a half from shore when I took that. We were walking out on this at low tide.
Oh, yeah.
So we were a good mile out. It was
Her very first YouTube video.
Yeah.
So proud.
such an ass.
Hey, PG-13.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they're allowed to use the word.
I have found myself using the word. I'm trying very hard not to be.
It's
find
usually in
myself
reference to me.
It or your father. But he does it intentionally. So.
Apple.
Apple,
Tree.
yes. Short range apples.
Short range apple.
Humor, having a sense of humor in this household is a survival mechanism.
Yes. No, I wouldn't say a survival mechanism.
Oh, yeah, it is. It is, because if it wasn't for your sense of humor and mine, you'd be dead.
Yeah.
We all know this. Certain things are very true.
One of my good friends nearly keeled over laughing.
Oh.
Brother Mark.
Oh, yeah. Brother Mark. Yeah.
For those who don't know, a lot of you will not know, Brother Mark is a 6'8", 310-pound bodybuilder. He's very large. He's very intimidating. But he's a giant teddy bear.
Yeah, and he's very funny.
He's very funny.
Yeah, he is very funny.
And when in mixed company, the things I do to him make other people fear for my life.
Yes, including me. Because I'd want to kill you, but that's just me. That was my one thought I was going to do for my little sign back here.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, is I craft so I don't kill people. But I thought, you know what?
Some people might not take that too
Some
well.
people might not find that funny at all. I find it very funny, but that's just me. I craft so I don't kill people. I thought it was funny when I saw it.
Some in our audience may take that literally.
I would be willing to bet that most of them watching
You should write a book.
could commiserate.
You should write a book.
I should write a book.
How to create a serial killer.
Yeah.
And then teach them how to draw like Ted Bundy or something.
Okay. That's just weird.
It's weird, but...
Yeah, it's very weird. So this piece is, we're not talking high art here. This is just a fun little beach sign. I love doing things like this. It's just very tongue-in-cheek. It kind of led, I was doodling this, it led to a bunch of other little doodles, which generally it does when I'm creating. So there is a new printable up on the website that follows this sort of beachy theme. When you see it, you're going to go, oh, that's kind of cute. I wonder if that's going to be a pattern. Yeah, it will be. There's a few things in there that are I'm working on right now. So I love doing the printables. They're just a great way to utilize little extraneous design elements and things like that so that you can put them onto smaller surfaces and whatnot. When I'm designing something, it's not unusual for me to have, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pages of paper laying around on my drawing table because I've, taken things out or put things in, and then this becomes extraneous, so I take it off. And instead of throwing out all those little nifty design ideas, I just put them onto a printable.
JL has got it on the money.
Oh, no.
I paint for your safety.
There, yeah, that's a good one. I create for your safety. That's a very good one. So, but today I settled on this one. It's not hoarding if it's art supplies. I've seen a few really funny quotes about, art supplies in general, and
Sanity?
yeah. Yeah. Painting isn't cheaper than therapy, but it's a lot more fun.
You don't have to talk to someone.
Yeah.
You should go talk to someone. No.
No. It's
I
just better,
do.
like-
You just don't see him.
Yep. Yep.
He's in the room.
It's and you're sitting in his chair.
I'd move.
Yeah, if I were you. No, I I had a thought and just thought, no, you know what? I'm not going to say it.
Just,
I just realized that I
His
just traced all
Bosco.
that. And... You know Bosco? Yep. There we go.
Sanity, what's that?
Yeah.
Sue said it. I
My
was just
straight jacket
confirming
buckle.
what she said. Oh, Sue Braun?
Yeah.
Sue Braun said I paint for your safety.
Uh-huh. I went ahead and traced a whole bunch of stuff on here, and there was no graphite paper under it. So I have to do it all again. I know. Shut up.
You know you've been doing it too long, Len.
Yeah, well, my eye. We were.
What did you do?
I don't know what I did. I have no idea. Could have sneezed. Why not? Your father asked me that. What did you do to your eyes? Well, I was probably talking when I should have been listening. He just looked at me like, okay then.
You're one good fart away from total
Oh,
paralysis.
no, exactly.
Oh, what's this? I've been using Winsor & Newton graphite paper.
They make great graphite paper. Winsor
yeah?
Newton, yeah. There's this design for watercolor paper, so it's not waxy at all. So
The
it
only
works
time
really
I have a problem is when the paint is not dry enough.
Yep.
Did I miss something? I thought Tracy was going to say what the prizes were today. But all I heard was something about sharing, which I did.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep. No, the prizes today, we've got some really nice ones. We have a stamp set from Stampendous. And the stamp set actually comes with a set of dies. So if you're into paper crafting and whatnot, there's a full set of dies that match the stamps, which is really pretty. So there's a great little set of those in. And then there's also 2 Dynasty and Caustic brushes, a round and a flat in there. They're a natural bristle brush. You're going to love those. Plus there's some other goodies. We always throw in other stuff, buttons and keychains and pens and stuff like that. So we've got a nice little prize pack for you today.
Painting keeps me off the streets and out of trouble.
Well, off the streets.
Well, off the streets, maybe.
Yep. That's about the size of it. Okay, so I've got my bird transferred, but I am going to slide this back up and then I'm going to trace the lettering on. Now, I'm going to show you a couple of tricks for transferring lettering. And it's this. I use a steel-edged ruler. I stay away from using a plastic one because the plastic ones get chipped and dinged along the edges, and it's impossible to get a nice straight edge or a straight line when the line that you're tracing has got little chunks and bits missing in it. So all of those vertical and horizontal lines are going to get traced using that straight edge ruler. And then you're going to have really nice, crisp lettering. You can't get crisp, straight lettering if the lines aren't crisp and straight. It's virtually impossible. So make sure when you're tracing your lettering that all of those vertical and horizontal lines, and in this case, the diagonal lines, get traced with that steel edge ruler. And then you'll end up with really nice, clean, sharp looking lettering.
I can't afford to get hooked on drugs if all my money goes into craft supplies.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I know. That's
What was it Dad sent me that one year?
what's up.
Get get your son into motorcycles. You'll never have enough money to buy drugs.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, he was
He was right.
he was right.
Yep.
Can't afford to get hooked on drugs if all my money goes to craft supplies.
You're
Yeah.
damn skippy.
Oh, this user LTE. I'm surprised we do giveaways.
We try to make sure that we have giveaways. We're very fortunate, Renee and I, that we have such generous supporters, and those being companies like Tombow USA, Stampendous, Decawart, Dynasty Brush, Viking Woodcrafts, Country Bear Wood. We have a great deal of help. We also get giveaways from CD Wood. So,
And sometimes we give away our own stock.
and sometimes, well, we also throw into those giveaways as well. So we appreciate the fact that you take some time out of your Saturday to come and sit and play and do
Maybe
a
learn
little
something.
creating and listen to us babble about whatever subject happens to cross our mind at the time.
The main subjects are usually dogs,
Dogs, food,
food,
painting,
painting,
Yeah.
and sanity.
and sanity. All of which the sanity part is questionable.
Yeah. We haven't figured out if we're sane or insane.
No, it depends on which yardstick you base it on. Sketchy at best.
And no, I'm not her husband.
No.
I'm her son.
Yeah. He's my boy.
Because that was a big question at the beginning of all this was, oh, it's so nice your husband's involved.
Yeah, it's not my husband.
No, he's upstairs.
Yeah. No, both of them, both my husband and my son and my daughter they pitch in and help out in the studio quite often, filling orders, helping us maintain inventory, doing inventory, checking things, updating websites. Renee's been a huge help in the studio in the last couple of years because he's been helping us with all of the tech stuff, doing the, setting up the cameras and audio.
Making sure the YouTube channel runs smoothly.
Yeah, so everybody pitches in as far as what needs to get done on the daily around here. So,
Scooter Bird.
okay, so we're almost done. I'm just going to quickly trace the script lettering. The nice part about the script lettering is it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect because it's a fairly distressed font to start with, and it actually works better if it's not perfect. Kind of like the fact that it's not too heavily structured and it's not too elegant. It's kind of fun.
Learn, laugh, and play.
Yep. And we do a little of all of those things in here. So we're coming up on June 16th, I think it is. June 16th. The YouTube channel will be 2 years we've been doing these live classes.
Yeah.
Wow.
June 16th will be the 2 years we've been doing the live classes on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
The end of this month will be our 1 year anniversary for the membership.
Yeah.
So
that's pretty exciting.
that's a big one.
And we've got, for the month of June, we've got some really nice giveaways.
Gasp.
For the 2 year anniversary of the YouTube lives, or the lives in general, we've got some nice giveaways coming up. For the membership group, you guys have got some really nice goodies coming up for giveaways during our live class in June. So I'm excited about that.
I got to see what's going on in June.
So I think, I'm telling you.
June 16th is a Thursday.
Yep. So that's Saturday.
So the 18th
Yep.
will be a big one.
Yep. So I've got bird is all traced, feathers all traced, lettering is all traced, except for God, Bless. I missed a T. The whole point behind this red ink was so that I didn't miss anything.
You missed a bunch of stuff.
And I just missed, no, I got everything else. I just missed a T in the word better. Better. There we go. So we are all traced on. So I'm going to leave the lettering towards the end so that if we're tight for time, we're not going to be too... I'm going to clean up my palette because it's a travesty.
Molly Ann Stock says June 16th is her birthday.
How? Happy birthday, Molly Ann. Okay, so we are ready to get started. Look at this. He's missing the tip of his nose.
Put that in there.
I'll just quickly sketch that in with a pencil.
All the tech has advanced so much on your channel. Kudos to Renee. It wasn't just me. It was just finding out what works.
Yep, and that was the big part of it. And then, of course, dealing with, we had sound issues and we had a whole bunch of things we needed to do. So
we've quite the stock of equipment now.
Yes, we do. In 2 years, we've upgraded from an iPhone and an iPad.
An iPhone and an iPad.
And we went to 3 streaming cameras. We have 2 sets of microphones. We have the lapel mics. We have boom mics.
3 different streaming softwares.
Yep, we've been through 3 different.
And we finally... Yeah. This one it's set up and it's good to go.
And it's stable. It seems to be working
very stable.
Fine, which is a big deal.
But with this software, we found out we were able to multi-stream.
Yeah. So
we can also stream to other services, but we don't know what kind of reception we would get.
Yeah. So for now, we're going to stick with this. We're having fun with it.
Stick with the 2 big ones, YouTube and Facebook.
So we have, on my palette, I've got some warm white. Now, in the instructions, I put,
Let's see.
You can use modeling paste. If I can find, where the bloody...
Yeah, it's nice to see our chat doesn't constantly say sound.
Sound, yeah.
Anymore.
That's been a big one.
That used to be in the past one of our biggest problems. Our sound would cut out.
Yeah.
And we had no idea what was causing it.
Yeah.
So it would just basically we would restart all the microphones, plug them back in,
and hope for the best.
And now
we've got these nifty boom mics. They're kind of cool.
They're typically used for radio broadcasting and
podcasts and things
like that. But these are connected through USB.
Yeah.
And not 3/4-inch jack.
Yeah. Well, we have like an octopus of cables running around this studio. I know. We had to buy a new computer.
I still think the Stream Deck is the best.
Yeah, that Stream Deck has been.
That is so cool. I press one button. I don't have to touch the laptop. It'd be cooler if it was wireless, but.
Yeah, well, that'd be cooler, but not going to happen anytime soon.
I think that's the big one.
Yeah, well, we don't need that.
We don't need we don't need that. We're barely using up all the buttons on this. Yeah. I think it's barely half.
So I've got a little bit of warm white, and I'm using modeling paste for this. I'm using the DecoArt Media. This is the clear one or the transparent one. Because we're using white paint, it really doesn't matter. This just happens to be the one I have. But any modeling paste will do. If you don't have modeling paste, a heavy gel medium will do. So all we're going to do is create a little bit of texture. And if you don't have the heavy gel medium and you don't have the modeling paste, grab some gesso, some of the media gesso. All we need is something that's going to thicken this paint a little bit. So I've got a little bit of modeling paste. I'm using about a teaspoon or so, maybe a tablespoon. And I'm going to mix that with some warm white. And it's going to be about a 3-to-1. So 3 parts modeling paste to 1 part paint. So it's just going to make a very thick paint for all intent and purpose. Just like that. Now I'm going to use, this is a number 8 filbert wave. They're also available in the faux squirrel. You can use these ones. But quite honestly, you can use a nice big filbert. It doesn't have to be a wave, but a nice big filbert will do the trick too.
That was quite the yawn. I hope you guys didn't hear that.
So I'm picking up a little bit of that mixture that I've made. And I'm going to start out here on the tip of his tail feathers. And I'm going to just leave a little ridge at the tip of the feathers, like so, and pull it back. Just like that. I want just a lip at the end of the feather and pull it back. So we want that little ridge, and then we want those stria. So I'm going to pull this up closer to the camera so you can see it. Do you see all of those little fine lines in there? That is going to create our feathers. And then you're going to overlap like so. And again, don't worry about getting it absolutely perfect. It doesn't matter.
What do you have to do to qualify for the giveaways? Easy.
Just share.
Share.
That's all you have to do is just share.
Talk with the community.
Yep.
That's it. Say hi to people. Get to know them.
Yeah, we have some really great and very talented painters that join us every Saturday. And we have a blast.
Oh, and they're from all around the world. Like Patrick Panafous, if you see him in the chat, he's from France.
Yep.
I think we got a few Australians.
A few Australians. We have a few folks from all over the U.S.
Yeah.
And we have people from, we have one or two people that follow us from Switzerland.
Yeah. Some from Brazil, some from
Bolivia.
Yeah.
We've been very fortunate.
And on occasion we get a Russian bot.
Yep, every once in a while, and we can throw his butt out. So
yeah, he's quite rude.
Yeah,
he wants you to join his dating site or something like that.
But all you have to do is say "Das Vidanya" and hit the poof button.
I'll make them disappear.
Yeah. So I'm just layering in these feathers. As you can see, we're not looking for perfection. We're just creating a little bit of texture. That's it. And this is fun. The nice part is with this medium, as it's still wet, if at any time you're not happy with it, you just take your palette knife, scrape it off, and do it again. And especially when it's still wet, because you can actually just brush it out, make it work for you. So I've got some pretty interesting texture. You can see that it's got some nice little ridges. It's not super heavy. And then we're going to take that same medium, and I'm going to do that to these snails down here, these snail shells.
Yeah.
Super easy.
Brooklyn's not another country. One from Brooklyn.
Brooklyn is awesome. I love Brooklyn.
Do people in Brooklyn believe that they're in another country?
They're in New York City.
But do they believe that they're like a separate country altogether?
No, I don't. Not so much a separate country, but definitely something special.
It's like Cape Bretoners.
Yeah.
They think they're a country all on their own.
Pretty much. Well, a separate province anyway.
Oh, a separate province.
Yeah. Not necessarily a country, but definitely a separate province. So I'm taking that same texture medium that I used on the feathers, and I'm going to do the same thing to these seashells, just sort of shape. We just want to create a little texture.
She says yes.
Okay.
Yes, Brooklyn is a separate country.
Okay. It is unique in the world. That is for sure. I will say
Yes.
that. Brooklyn is unique in the world. I love Brooklyn. So I'm going to switch to a smaller filbert here so that I can get some texture into the center of this little swirl. I kind of want to stick with that swirl. Look, just like that. So that, that kind of nifty coil spiral appearance. There we go.
Jeez. I was born in Brooklyn in 1934.
Wow.
There was a commercial on TV in New York to promote New York tourism.
Yeah.
Oh, and they made Brooklyn as like a separate country, or?
Everybody has a favorite city, I think.
Well, they're all attached. It's like Winnipeg and Transcona. Transcona is
It's a
part
borough.
of. It's a borough. Well, yeah, but
It's a borough.
it's part of the city now.
Yeah.
You don't get to be called Transcona no more.
No.
You are in Winnipeg.
Yeah. But it's like saying, well, where are you from? Westwood.
It's the area of
Yeah,
the
exactly.
city.
Well, that's what a
Okay,
Transcona is. And
I see what you mean.
yeah. And it's pretty much the same thing. Brooklyn is part of New York City.
Well, Jessica's doing her thing for the puppers.
Is she doing her thing for the puppers? Jess, you're awesome, girl.
Yeah, another $20 to feed the puppers.
Nice.
Telling on myself I was painting, then decided to put my moisturizer on my face. Oops, I forgot to wash my hands first. I'll be glad to get rid of the cold head.
Okay, so I've got my texture on. I love that these seashells are not going to be, super perfect. I love the texture that this creates. It's just fun. Now, we're going to do the same thing to that piece of wood. I'm going to take a little bit and I'm going to just stroke in some texture. It doesn't have to be heavy. I'm just going to create a little bit of that wood texture on that post just by stroking in a little of that texture medium. And then we'll do the same thing down here. Neatness doesn't count. And there we go. Super easy. Don't overwork it. Don't overthink it. Just sort of slap a little texture in and call it good. So.
Oh. Did you know Linda Franco's from New York?
Yes, I did.
I did not know that.
She lives
In Louisiana.
in Louisiana.
Lives in Louisiana.
Yes,
But she is
my girl
originally
Linda
from
is from
New
New
York.
York. Yep.
Oh. You
So-
lied to me. No.
I'm going to dry this.
Laura
Villegas.
Villegas. It's one of those names.
Yeah.
I'll never get it.
I know.
She says, I'm back. Welcome back. Well, hello all from muggy Cape Cod,
Cape Cod.
Massachusetts.
Yeah. Had to go over the bridge to get there.
How does one do a super chat donation? You got to go to YouTube.
Yep. You go to the YouTube channel, and right underneath the chat, there's, what is it? Is it a $? Sign or something?
Yeah, it's a little dollar sign
There's a
next.
little $sign in there. You can make a donation. And you're not obligated to by any means whatsoever. It's just, we kind of fell into this notion that if people were going to give us a donation just so that their comment could be, get more attention, or if they had a question and they wanted to do it, you can make a donation there to do that. But Renee and I decided that anything that comes in financially through that super chat, that we would donate it to our local animal shelter, which is the Fredericton area SPCA. So it is a no-kill shelter. So.
And they need a new roof.
And they need a new roof. So, so that's what we do. And then every month we'll put a post up on Facebook and in the YouTube channel, the community tab, just to let you know how much has been sent. And last month, for the month of April, it was $145 that we sent over to our local chapter, which
Thanks to you guys.
is all thanks to you guys. But at the same time, it also means that some of the the new dogs that are getting in get a spay, or, you know, the kitty cats get a spay, or they buy food, or whatever they happen to need.
New blankets, new beds, new medication for an older dog, or
Yeah, exactly.
what have you.
So,
Seeing a lot more older dogs at
Yeah.
the SPCA lately, so which saddens me. Don't like seeing older dogs in an SPCA. Younger dogs still saddens me.
seeing any animal in a shelter saddens me, but older dogs in particular, because they're so hard to find placement for.
Yeah.
I know. But,
I had a friend of mine. That's what she did.
yeah.
She always took in the older dogs
The older
and gave them a
ones.
night.
Yeah.
She had a dog named Beans,
I remember that.
and he was a 16-year-old pug. The poor thing was blind, had a hard time breathing, could barely
puppy.
walk, but he
Yeah,
was the
great.
happiest, oldest dog ever.
So this is almost dry. I'm just going to give this a couple of seconds. And then we can go ahead and we can base coat our bird. Now the fun part about this is wherever these textures are, they get a different color. So in this particular case, we're going to use a little bit of cobblestone.
Well, here's a few things, because
Okay.
we were just talking about
It
this.
was busy, was it?
Yeah. First off, Rolene H. just donated $10,
Nice. Thank you, Rolene.
and she's glad to help the pets.
Yes.
And Debbie Matthews just joined your membership group.
Excellent. Debbie, I am so glad to have you. I was chatting with Debbie the other day. She had good news. She's been having some health issues, and she got some really positive news the other day. So I was very, very happy about that. So I am so glad to have you join us, Debbie.
Yeah. And by the looks of it, Debbie Matthews has got a golden paintbrush, so this would be her definitely 6 months.
Yep.
So, right on.
So-
I think we have a pin on her way.
Yes, we just sent out a bunch more.
Yes.
So I'm taking a little of that cobblestone, and I'm going to base coat the wings of my bird right over top of that texture. And this is going to give us the wing.
Okay. So one of her newest watchers, viewers, Miss, I'm assuming you're a woman. Prove me wrong. LTE. We just adopted a dog from our local animal shelter. She is 3 years old,
Nice.
and she was there for 368 days.
Aw. Now she has a forever home. That's wonderful. So I'm just base coating the wing with that cobblestone. The great thing about this cobblestone is it covers really well. And I'm going to use lamp black for the tail feathers.
Are you dating yourself, Lucinda? Wow, Tracy was born the year I graduated high school.
Oh, wow.
Sorry, but that makes me feel old. I felt old when I saw a computer I used in middle school in a museum.
Yep. So this is the fun part about this, is that you can be selective about which feathers you want to paint what color. So if you want more black in there, put more black in. Just, include a couple extra feathers if you want to.
LTE is Laura.
Laura.
Okay. Wouldn't. Do we know this, Laura? Is this one of those secret shopper things, or? Are we being punked?
So I've got black. There we go. Now this little guy is going to come together really quickly once we get these base coats in. Now I've got just some warm white, straight warm white.
Oh. So Maggie is the name of the dog that was in
368 days.
368 days. She had a litter of 10 puppies.
Oh my goodness.
They all got adopted.
Nice.
That's good. She hadn't. She's the most loving dog ever.
Oh.
That I have no doubt. And yes, Renee, I'm a woman. Okay. I'm new and a mystery. Okay. We can. You don't have to tell us your real name.
No, never. So, again, I'm just giving this a coat of warm white.
Wait until you see things from your childhood in antique shops.
Yeah. Tell me about it. Yeah. You know what's really scary is that when a pair of jeans that you wore when you were in high school shows up in a vintage shop. Yeah. If that doesn't make you feel old. It's vintage. They're jeans. Bell bottoms, no less. They're not vintage. They were a travesty then. They're a travesty now.
Certain things should never make a comeback. And I noticed something that is making a comeback, and I
What's that?
should never make it come. Bucket hats.
Bucket hats. What the hell is a bucket hat?
Floppy hats, kind of like a Tilly hat,
Oh, yes.
but they're like
they've never-
hard brimmed at the end.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
Yeah, those. Yeah, they're back.
Like, no.
And the 1990s windbreaker with the purple and the yellow and those are making a comeback as well.
Those were ugly then.
Those were ugly, and I had one.
I know.
I had one. It was horrible.
I'm not sure why you had one. Might have been your choice.
It was the thing.
Yes.
Everybody had them.
Yeah, that's true.
And I'm kind of glad they went the way of the bell-bottom jeans.
And the dodo.
The dodo.
The way of the dodo.
Oh, they're back. Don't revive things. They die for a reason.
I remember in the 70s wearing bell bottoms. You got to remember, I went to a Catholic school
Ooh.
until I was in grade 8, just before going to high school. So up until that point, all I ever wore to school was skirts. I went to a Catholic school, wore a skirt and knee socks. So when I hit grade 9, leaving grade 8, going to grade 9, going into high school, and of course I was going into high school in a European high school, so no uniforms. And I would have given my left arm for a pair of bell bottoms because they were the thing to wear.
Okay.
What?
We just got another donation from Daily Build It for $5 to go help the puppies, saying,
Nice,
great
thank
work,
you.
Tracy.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it. We're big animal lovers in this household.
We had a squirrel.
We had,
We named him Peanut.
yeah.
He was cute.
And then he went to a gentleman that does sort of fostering for wild animals.
Because I don't know the first thing about taking care of a squirrel.
We did everything that we could, and then we found this fellow that would take him on, and
All I knew was he was too young to be on his own.
yes, he was way too young to be on his own.
So, and he was definitely hungry, and he was cold.
Yeah. And we don't let creatures do without, so I had an adventure with Miss Dot the other day. She took me for a run around the backyard.
You found out the hard way that she's pretty tough.
That dog is strong.
Yes.
And for those of you that don't know, Dot is paraplegic. And so when she goes out, you have to hold on to her hind legs so that she can go out for a tinkle. And she didn't want to come in. She wanted to go for a loop around the backyard, and she took me for a drag. So yeah, she was interesting. So maybe that's what happened to my
What? Apparently Sheila had a skunk for 2 years.
Skunks make great pets. Skunks are
You
really
named him
cute.
Carl?
Carl.
Carl.
Carl. Why not?
Carl the skunk. Okay, that's a...
My mother had a raven she named Edgar.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
We had a...
It'd be like calling a raven Bob. Why Bob?
Yeah. Speaking of Bob.
Bob? Where is Bob?
He's right here.
Oh, yeah. I don't think LTE has met Bob yet.
No, but...
Bob is our channel mascot.
Yeah, this
likes-
is Bob.
That is Bob. Creepiest gingerbread doll ever.
He's a zombie cookie.
Zombie cookie.
Zombie cookie, that's Bob. So I'm putting a coat of warm white onto this bird. Again, it's going to take a few coats because that blue is showing up right through it. But I'm going to, at the same time that I'm doing that, we're going to put a coat over top of our wood. I think this piece is going to take a little longer than I anticipated. That's okay. I got all kinds of time.
You're not making dinner.
That's right, I'm not. Uncomfortable silence. I just realized that it got very, very quiet.
I wish I had a soundboard. Oh, I'm gonna do it.
All right, okay.
I'm gonna make a button on this Stream Deck.
Does that mean I have to get another piece of equipment?
No. No, this can be a soundboard.
Okay.
I'm just gonna press it and it'll just be the sound of crickets.
Okay. Oh. Alrighty then.
Well, you're just base coating with white.
I am, and it's driving me crazy because I want to get to all the fun stuff. But we had so much fun stuff to do back there that it's taken a bit to get there. So it's all good. I'll get there.
Tell you what.
Yeah, that's a good time to do a...
I will get the wheel ready.
Yeah, so if you haven't hit that share button, now would be a great time to do it.
Because what do we got here? 62 shares just on Facebook alone.
Nice.
Jeez.
Excellent.
Spending a quiet Saturday morning doing a favorite thing, watching a painting class. Jeez, that's Denise Van Newkirk. Newvek?
Van Newkirk.
Van Newkirk?
My sweetie from out west.
Grabbing a bunch of
niece.
names. Wow.
I love the fact that these shells are textured because then you don't really have to worry too much about whether or not your base coats are perfect. Because they're shells. And they're textured. So you get all kinds of interesting stuff. I just generally, when I'm base coating it, follow the shape of the shell, and that way it maintains that texture. So I don't have to...
What do we got from... Holy! What do we got from YouTube here? YouTube got a bunch of names. Jeez. It's quite the list.
I gotta find my yellow. Oh, there it is. So I used antique gold for the beak. If you can't get antique gold, any mustardy yellow, marigold will work. Any mustardy toned yellow will work just fine for the beak. It doesn't have to be exactly what I used. In this day and age, with supplies being at times very difficult to get, There's nothing wrong with improvising with what you have. So don't be afraid to, if you have to, mix up a color. You know, paint's only wasted if it stays in the bottle. So
I have 162 names.
nice. Excellent.
All right. I got to switch cameras here. Right. This one. Spin time. I have it labeled.
I'm going to dry this real quick. So, as you can see, this little seagull, I think he's a pretty dapper looking fellow.
If I can get it to work.
Look at that mess of books up above on my shelf behind my head.
Yep, that's your Facebook. There we go. I think I got it. Yeah. Oh, what's the ad today?
Oh.
Surplus furniture, mattresses. Okay.
Surplus furniture and mattress house. Okay. Utility furniture.
How are we looking? Shrink it.
So, wow. Excellent. That means that everybody's been sharing, which is great.
There's the names. Yeah, we got... Well, we got some of the classic names in there, like Jessica Gilleran, of course. Got Linda Safranco, Susan Haley, Teresa Casper. Got a bunch of names. I'm not going to go through them all. But I think we should click spin and win.
So, just to recap what's in those goodie bags this week. There's a great little set of stamps. They're quite nice. They're it's bird themed. It's a very nice set of stamps with the dies. So if you're a paper crafter or if you enjoy doing anything like that, the dies are in there and they match the shapes. And it's Jana Reynolds.
Yeah, I didn't look.
So there's some brushes in there from Dynasty Brush. Plus there's some goodies from Renee and I in there as well. So, Jana, I think we have your shipping information, my dear, so we will get that out to you on Monday.
There we go.
But if you're not sure if we have it, you can just pop over to the website at tracymoreau.net, go to the homepage, click on the little speech bubble in the lower right-hand corner of the homepage, and just send us your shipping information.
Some of you have been sneaky. Some of you are on both lists. Because I took the list from Facebook. Copy, paste. And I took the list from YouTube. Copy, paste. Some of you are going to show up on there more than once.
Well, some of them have been sharing it more than once. So.
Yeah, it's true. Some of you. Some.
Yep, but you got to hit that share button if you want to get in on the goodies.
Uh-oh.
What? Uh-oh.
Is the menace to society down here?
No, she is not. I mean, Mistress Soot.
Mistress Soot. Madam Soot.
Yes, we call her Madam. She is a bit of a diva.
Yes. Should we spin it again?
Sure.
All right, let's spin it again.
You go right ahead and spin. I'm just finishing off this base coating. Because this is just taking far too much time.
Who do we got? Who do we got? Who do we got? Oh, Janine Osborne.
Nice. Pretty sure that we have your shipping information too, Janine.
Yep. I actually know we do.
Okay.
Because she's won before.
Yep.
And it gives her a chance to do all the base coating that she's trying to get
Yeah.
in there. All right. So
Now, had I thought about it, I would have prepped a separate surface, but I didn't, so that's on me.
okay, and then we'll save one
Yeah, for a little later.
for a little later.
Oh, jeez, Louise.
That kind of day?
Yeah. Dropped my brush, landed right in the paint. Of
All
course.
right. And is that the right? Nope. Say hi.
Hi.
Bye. Back down.
Oh my
I
gosh.
tried doing it without looking and I hit the wrong button.
Okay, so good grief.
They saw you drop that, by the way.
Oh, did they? Yeah.
You get the little...
Yeah, it landed right, handle down, right in the puddle of paint. Okay, so I have my base coat on. We're going to worry about the lettering. So I'm going to grab a nice angled shader, if I can find one that doesn't... There we go. So I've a 1/2 inch angled shader. Now we're going to start by doing a little bit of shading around our seagull, and we're going to do that with a little bit of Prussian blue. I know this is a scary dark color, and I think there's paint in there. There we go.
Do you sell or know who in Canada sells the Fandango brushes?
Yes, actually I do. Stockade.ca stocks the black gold brushes.
There you go.
So I've thinned out a little bit of this Prussian blue. Apparently not enough. Still very strong, but that's okay. We'll sort it out. And I'm going to shade in and around everything with this Prussian blue.
Do you remove the names that win more than once? No.
No, we leave them all in.
Yeah. Everybody stays on the wheel.
Yep.
And it's a new list every time. Sometimes I get 170 some names. Sometimes I get 150. It's whoever's on that list at the end of when it comes time.
Yep.
As long as you liked, commented, and
yep. If
shared.
you shared the video, your name goes on that list.
Yeah. Me thinking it was going to be a smaller list. Proven very wrong.
Yep. That's good. I don't mind.
Yeah.
And we have giveaways every week. We are very fortunate. Companies like Deckwart and Dynasty and Tombow are very generous with us. So we are able to have giveaways for you. And we have companies like Southern Ridge Trading that provide us with items for giveaways. Stampenda Stamps, Painting with Deb. Painting with Deb is a Stampendous distributor here in Canada. So if you're looking for stamps, if you're looking for good prices on stamps and a good selection, go and check out Painting with Deb. She's got oodles of stamps on her website.
Oodles?
Oodles. Oodles. It's a good word. Oodles is a very good word. So I'm just putting a float of that Prussian blue around our gull. I just want him to stand out a little bit from the background. And I chose a transparent blue so that we get a nice shadow, but without compromising all of that texture that we worked so hard to create in the background. So I'm going to... Now we have a tabletop here. Nice little horizon line behind our seagull, and I'm just going to put a little bit of Prussian blue there.
Good substitute for asphaltum?
There isn't really one.
There isn't one?
Not really.
No?
If you cannot get the Deckwart asphaltum, Folk Art does make one. I will say this, you will have to thin it out considerably. It's a very strong color. And I use it thinned for almost everything. I'm very cautious with it because it can be a very dark and heavy-handed color if you're not careful.
What does an oodle look like?
An oodle? Oodles. Many.
Lots.
So I'm going to do the same thing to the lettering. I'm going to put a float of that Prussian blue up against the letter just to create a little shadow. And again, I am not putzing with it too much. It's going to give it a nice little shading on one side. Comme ça. And I do the same thing to all of these little letters too. I'm just, if you'll notice, I'm not really being all that careful about its where it's going, because by the time I'm done, we're not going to see a lot of that anyway, but I like to have that little shadow, and I usually put it darkest value towards the letter and on the right hand side on the background. And this is just going to elevate these letters a little bit, just so that they're not just looking flat as if they're sitting on the surface. We want a little bit of dimension, and this little float will go a long way to giving us that. So it doesn't have to be perfect. As you can see, I don't putz with it too much. There we go. So there we are. So there I have all of that shading in place. Neatness doesn't count, as you can see. I don't worry too much about it. I do, however, want to soften that a little bit. I'm not real happy with that. It looks a little too dark. So I'm just going to soften it a little. There we go. Easy peasy. Now all of that shading is going to get yet another float. A little further down the line, we're going to take out some asphaltum, and we're going to do a little bit of work in there. So out comes the asphaltum. We're going to start developing our bird and all the textures on our bird. We're going to do that by creating some dimension on these feathers. So a small quantity of asphaltum on the tip of the brush. Make sure that the brush is well blended so that the color is not full strength. We don't want this full strength. And this, because you can see the texture, you're going to put your float on the underside of that feather. You see where that texture is? Remember that ridge that we created? That's where our float is going to go, right up against that ridge, like so. And it immediately lifts those feathers off the surface, like so. So now we have feathers. So that curve where the feather is, like so, gives you that nice little bit of separation. And so we have feathers. And then you're going to do the same thing to those feathers in the gray area. Make sure that you shade right up to it, darkest value towards that textured ridge that you worked so hard to create. And this is just such a fun technique for creating feathers, wonderful textures, fish scales. It's great for fish scales too. So if you want to do something fun with fish, with a fish theme, this is a great way to create the scales to give you that look. So much fun. Now, obviously with the black, we're not going to be able to shade. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to highlight the edge of that feather with a little bit of thinned warm white. So if I do the same thing I did with the asphaltum on the black, I'm going to turn this upside down, and then that float's going to go right on the edge of that textured bit, just like so. So now we have feathers. And then, of course, you're going to highlight all of those feathers that you went to so much work to create. We're just going to put a float of that thinned warm white right on the edge opposite that shadow. So now we get lots of texture because that white's going to accentuate all of those stria, those little lines that texture left behind. I'm going to pull a little more white. And it does two things. It makes the feathers a little softer It shows off the texture, gives it a little bit of contrast, and it also makes those shadows jump a little bit. So we've got a little more texture going on. And this is just a simple way to get that great feathered texture. Now you can grab some titanium snow white for the white feathers. I know it sounds silly to highlight white paint with white, but we need to brighten this a little bit. And so a little bit of that titanium white on the edges of those feathers will do just that. It's not a really strong or obvious highlight, but it will do exactly what we want it to do, and that is just brighten those feathers a little bit. And then while I'm at it, I'm going to take a little bit of that titanium white and add a little bit to the top of the head of this bird. I told you, he's going to really come together quite quickly. And we've got, his beak is based with that antique gold. I'm going to use a little bit of orange flame. And I think I had better put another coat of that gold on. I'm not really happy with his beak. So I'll quickly put another coat of that antique gold on there, just because I think it needs it.
What did I miss?
Oh, I'm going to dry his beak real quick.
I looked up on Google, but no image of an oodle.
An oodle? Oodles.
I have 14 24-year-olds staying at my place for the weekend, so I'm very much enjoying the peace of this piece. Just kidding.
14 24-year-olds. My question would be why?
Yeah, why?
So I'm using a little bit of orange flame, and I'm going to put that along the bottom of the beak. Just a little shadow along the bottom of the beak. And then up against that white, just a little. Just like that. You don't need a lot.
Jessica. I could always rely on Jessica for a good laugh.
What'd she do?
Well, that's what we call a dump duck.
A dump duck. Oh, okay. A seagull.
Seagull.
Yeah.
A dump duck.
Dump duck.
I have another word for him, but
yeah,
starts with an S and ends with hawk.
Yeah. Yep. We have a variety of gulls because we live on the East Coast. We see a lot of different gulls here. We see small ones, and the ones that a lot of people call gulls here are not actually gulls, they're terns. They're smaller and they're actually quite beautiful. So we have terns, we have gulls, we have Turner's gulls, which are really big ones. And we have so many seabirds here, but my favorite here on the East Coast is puffin.
Oh, the puffins.
Oh,
they're cute.
They're adorable. They're adorable.
They're noisy.
They're very noisy. But then again, so are seagulls.
Yeah. Mine.
So we're going to add a highlight to the top of the table. We're going to do that with a little bit of warm white or titanium white, whichever. Whatever you have on your palette at the time. And it's just a float. Again, just to give a little contrast between the two. And it sets that tabletop where it needs to be.
I was asking about the brown paint. Oh, asphaltum.
Asphaltum, yes. Asphaltum is a unique color. It looks like brown. It's actually a yellow. I use it for so many different things instead of burnt umber. I find umbers were intentionally designed to subdue colors. And I like to tone them more than subdue them. And so I tend to lean towards using the asphaltum for a couple of reasons. One, it has that yellow tone. I can make it as dark or as light as I want to just by thinning it. And at the same time, it's very, very, very transparent. So I'm able to get some really nice effects with it. And it ages things really, really well. So I'm going to grab a little bit of Bahama Blue.
Oh, now they're asking you to paint a puffin.
A puffin, I would love to. I got to find a really great photo of one because they're so stinking cute. There's an island off of Grand Manan.
I heard they're tasty too.
I've heard that.
I heard they're tasty.
But having said that, they're also an endangered species here on the East Coast. So,
So no nom the puffin.
no numbing the puffins. So I'm using a little bit of Bahama Blue. I've thinned it out a little bit. I'm putting a shadow underneath the neckline. And I'm going to do the same thing just under the wing. I don't want this full strength. I just want a little bit of that color underneath the wing, like so. And I'm going to let that dry, but then I'm going to come back and I'm going to put some asphaltum over top of that. I tend to lean towards the Bahama Blue over top of whites because I find it's cool. And then when I shade it with the asphaltum, it gives it a slight greenish cast, which works really well for keeping whites a little on the cool side. So I'm just going to deepen that shadow with a little bit of asphaltum.
According to the Audubon
Society?
Yeah. They're called gulls. There's no such thing as a seagull.
No, they're just gulls.
Huh. Audubon?
Audubon.
Audubon? Oh, yeah. Whatever. The thing that studies birds.
Yep. So I'm just putting a little highlight, warm white, on the top of the beak. Comme ça. And then he needs an eyeball. He needs an eyeball.
He's blind.
Well, I painted over the eyeball. So I'm going to grab I know I've got a polka dot stencil here someplace. I've probably got a half a dozen of them here someplace. Oh, better yet, my shape maker.
I hear it's good luck to have a seagull poop on your head.
Only if you're the seagull.
I guess your day could only get better.
That's quite true. So I'm going to use my my shape maker. I'm going to use one of the circles here to create a habal because I don't want to put the line drawing back in place if I don't have to. And I'm going to use a rigger and a little bit of Prussian blue. And I'm going to paint in his habal.
Habal?
Yeah, and I think I used a bigger polka dot than I did in the first one, but that's okay. So I'm just putting in nice dark blue. I like the Prussian blue for this. You could do it in black too. It doesn't matter. So his habal. And I'm going to dry that. And then we're going to put a highlight on the eye. Make sure that's dry. I'm going to switch to a smaller angled shader for this. I've got a 1/4 inch. Now on that eye, I'm going to use a little bit of warm white. Actually, I think that's titanium white. It's all good. And we're going to put a highlight on the eye, and we're going to come in slightly from the edge of the eyeball. And I'm just putting in a small highlight. I don't know if you can see that on camera, but it's just a half circle float on that side. And then we're going to add a final highlight to that eye with the rigger and a little bit of titanium white. Ta-da! Eyeball. So this guy comes together pretty quickly, as you can see, because we've just put in some very basic shading, some very basic highlighting. We're going to come back in and do a bunch of detailing. We're going to use our gel pens and whatnot for that. But we will do that a little bit later on once we're at that stage. And I just see a spot here that's bugging me. It happens. I just got a spot here where I overshot the runway and it put blue paint on the white part of the bird, and I don't like it, so I'm cleaning it up. Not unusual for me to go back around and clean up a whole bunch of little wobbles and bobbles because I like nice sharp edges. So,
Oh, here's got a question from Robin Storm.
hi, Robin.
Do you ever have days where your hands shake and you just can't use a liner?
Oh, hell yes. Absolutely. On days like that, I'll take a break from doing any of it because all it does is frustrate you if you can't get it done. But I will tell you, there's a couple of little tricks that you can do to make your line work a whole lot easier. And this is one of my favorites. Don't look where you are, look where you're going. It sounds like a crazy thing to say, but it is absolutely the truth. And I see people do this all the time. And I know we have all done it. We all do it. But I'm going to show you something. Thin out your paint. Get your favorite liner brush. Load it up. And when you go to do your line work, there's two things. One, make sure your hand is relaxed. Just let your hand relax. If you're tense and you're trying to draw the line, it's never going to be straight. And you should always think of the line as a journey. So I can get fairly straight, clean lines, and it's just a flick. The reason for that is that I'm not trying to draw the line. I'm letting the brush do the work. So load it up. You can get nice, clean, straight lines, fine lines. Don't think about what you're doing. If you're trying to draw them like you would with a pencil, you're not going to be able to do it. And then, tip number 2, don't look where you are. Don't look where the brush is, because that's not where you're going. Look where you're going. So think of it in these terms. Put a dot, this is where you're starting, and this is where you want to end up. When you put your brush on the surface, look at this dot. Don't look at the one you started on. Don't look here, look down here. You'll have an easier time getting it to go where you want it to go. It's like driving a car. I don't know if you've ever experienced this phenomenon. When you're driving along, if you look off to the side, that's where the car wants to go. So it's the same thing. Look where you're going. Dot, dot. Don't look where you are. Look where you're going. And this is a great way to practice that. Look at the dot that you're going to and just pull the brush toward it. You'll have a much easier time getting the brush to do what you want it to do and to go where you want it to go. And the other thing, if you find that you can't get your paint to a thin enough consistency, or if it just doesn't want to do what you want it to do, go and get yourself some of this. Get some Jo Sonja's Fast Dry Glaze. It will act like a lubricant and it helps the paint flow off the brush. It helps the paint move. Look where you're going, not where you are. Use a good medium to thin out the paint so that it flows off the brush. Those are the best tips I can give you about working with a liner brush. And use a good liner brush. Get yourself one that you like, that is comfortable in your hand, the right length. If it's too long and you're not comfortable with a long liner, go to a short liner. Go to a medium length liner. I'm a big fan of the extra long detail liners. I love that they've got that nice long bristle because I can hold that brush back further from the ferrule and I can have the whole brush on the surface. So find a brush that works for you. If it's comfortable in your hand, that's one of the reasons I use these extra long detail liners, these microns, is they're very comfortable in the hand and they come in a variety of lengths. So you can do almost anything. And these ones work great. Hopefully, Robin, that answered your question and it helped a little bit. But yes, absolutely. There's days where I couldn't use the liner brush to save my soul. So, and that happens to all of us. So, next step, we're going to, I'm going to put another coat of white on the stem of this thing because it's pretty bad. There we go. So I'm going to grab I've got a 3/8 angle here somewhere. There it is. I like my 3/8. So I've got a 3/8 angle. We're going to put a little shadow on these shells. And I'm going to do that with a little bit of Bahama Blue. So into that swirl, just like so, I'm going to put a little float of Bahama Blue. And again, neatness doesn't count for this.
You're not going to say the whole thing? Neatness doesn't count?
Neatness doesn't count. There's nobody going to grade you on your work on this.
Perfection is to be avoided at all costs.
Well, first of all, perfection is unachievable.
Yeah.
So why put that kind of pressure on yourself to start with? And two, you can create some of the coolest and most wonderful things when you stop comparing yourself to everybody else.
You do you.
You do you. You take the techniques that you learn from watching whatever videos it is that you watch, whether it's me or somebody else, and you sit down and you paint and create for the absolute joy of it. Don't worry about whether or not it looks exactly like the teachers or if it's exactly like the book did. There's no way you could do that anyway. And the reason being is that you aren't the person that created it. You do you. So if you sit down and you create something really wonderful using the techniques that you learned by watching this video or anybody's video, then you created something. You just listened to what another teacher told you and you worked from that to create something completely unique to you. That's what's important, not recreating something that somebody else did. That's why I love it when people post photos of stuff that they've done from patterns of mine, and they've gone completely left of center. They've changed up the surface, they've changed up the paper, they changed up the stamp or whatever it is that they used, and they took what we showed them and they made something completely unique out of it. I think that that's awesome, because that's what art's supposed to do. You're supposed to be thinking outside of the box and just having some fun with it. It's supposed to be fun.
Can you use the magic mix instead of the glaze?
I have. It will work. I find it doesn't work as easily for me, but it will work. So I'm going to recreate those ridges, those boards. I'm just going to shade each one of those little spaces with little asphaltum.
And the best example for the you do you kind of thing is we actually had a competition.
Awesome.
On the channel and on Facebook.
Yeah.
It was a Easter competition.
Yep, the bunny.
The bunny.
Yep. It
So
was so fun.
She made you made the line drawing free, right?
No, it was just sort of an impromptu thing. Like, just put it up there, and we had some prizes to give away.
Yeah, we had some prizes to give away, and I made the joke of somebody making me a zombie bunny.
Zombie bunny. Which
So
you did.
using the line drawing from one of her patterns, create a bunny of your own.
Yeah.
Use your own color scheme, whatever you want to
Yeah.
use. Add something, take away something. Just
You
make
do
a bunny.
you. Yep.
And somebody made me
They made him a zombie bunny.
a zombie bunny.
It was flipping awesome.
And it was Robin Richet,
Yeah.
yeah, who made me the zombie bunny. Enjoy your zombie bunny, it says on the back. I'm
Yeah.
holding it in my hand.
Yeah, it sits right above his desk here in the studio. So, yeah, it's always within eyesight.
Yeah. But that was a great example of some of the things people can come up with.
Oh, I'm constantly impressed and never surprised at the creativity of the people that join us here, ever. They're phenomenal. Some of the things they do, things that they create. I love it when artists think outside of the box. You give them a line drawing. That's what I love about the printables. Post the printables up on the website. They download them, and they're free to download. You can go onto the free printable section on my website and download those. And then they start posting photos of what they've done with them, and they're absolutely amazing. And all it is a little doodle, but they took their own colors, their own stencils, their own ideas, and they put it all together, and they're incredible. Absolutely incredible. It's great to see that kind of creativity. So I'm just going over top And this is the fun part with these shells. Remember all of the texture medium that we put on those? So I'm going right over top of all of that Bahama blue with a float of asphaltum, and it catches in all of the texture that you created, all of those little funky lines that go off in 10 different directions, and it creates some really interesting textures on those shells. And it just makes them so much more interesting. And it doesn't really matter.
Linda Sofranco did a zombie bunny too.
She did a zombie bunny too. Yep. It was so flippin' awesome. So there's my shells. Look at that. Look at how quickly those shells come to life with just those two little floats in there, because they're textured. So you don't have to work so hard to get all of that interest and whatnot in there. So I'm going to take a little bit of titanium white. I'm going to dry these first though. And we're going to add a highlight to these shells because I want them to pop forward a little bit. And these are super easy.
Oh, Jessica's gone to go get a new TV.
Woohoo!
My new old one died. I'll watch the rest of the replay later. Have a super great day. You too, Jessica. Enjoy the new TV.
So I'm just putting a highlight of a little bit of, you can do it with warm white or titanium white, whatever. Just on those little shells up in there. Now, in this piece, I am not really worrying too much about where my light source is, to be perfectly honest, because it's sort of coming from a variety of places. And so we've got highlights and shadows and whatnot. So not a big deal. And I'm going to put a little highlight at the top edge of each one of these this wood grain, these notches in the wood. Doesn't have to be much. There we go.
Choose wisely. It'll be yours for years.
The way they make things these days, not really.
Yeah.
So I'm loving that. I'm loving the shells. I love the way the modeling paste created some interesting textures in there. So we have some rope on our little post here. And I've base coated it with a little bit of cobblestone. I rather like that color lately. I've been using it quite a bit. And I'm going to float in a little bit of asphaltum. We're going to put a shadow in here. And we've got a knot. And then I'm going to just stroke in a little float like so that I've got 3 bars, or 3 strands, let's call it.
We have a newcomer.
We do.
Yeah, Diane. She's asking, what is the art you're doing? Did you make that on your own? Was it pre-made and you colored it?
This one, we actually started today with just a bare surface with 1 coat of white paint on it. This is the original. Right here. The pattern for this one is available on my website. The pattern comes with the written instructions, lots of full color photos and step-by-steps, and a complete supply list. Tells you what you need to complete the piece. And then we're doing video today to show you how to get there, because it's super easy. It's not as difficult as you'd think it'd be.
And yes, it is designed by her.
Yeah.
So this is all her original work.
Yeah. So I'm using a little bit of asphaltum. I've put the shadow in. Doing this backwards here. So, sorry.
It took me a second.
Backwards. Yep.
Yeah. I was just like, what? Oh, yeah.
Good grief. I'm telling you. There we go. Okay. So I've got a little bit of asphaltum on my brush. We want to put a texture on our rope. So I'm going to put some diagonal stripes on the rope on that first strand, going in one direction first, and then in the middle one I'm going to go back in the other direction.
This is my emotional support place.
Mine too. Just saying.
My dog's upstairs.
Yeah, His emotional support beast is upstairs.
Support beast.
Well, you never know.
Emotional support beast.
Hey, I saw a person on an airplane claim that their parrot was their emotional support animal.
Yeah, not legally.
I know, but you know what I mean. And then I'm going to do the same thing to the rope, this loop here. Just a diagonal line. It doesn't have to be perfect. We're just creating a little visual texture.
Yeah. What was it? Under the law in Canada, there's only 3 animals that be constituted as a emotional support animal. One of which, a dog.
Yeah.
That makes sense. The other one still baffles my mind.
As long as it's not a fish.
No, it's not a fish. It's a Shetland pony.
Okay. Oh, equine therapy. Yes, I get
Equine
that one.
therapy. It is under the law.
Yeah.
You can bring a pony
On a plane.
on a plane
Okay.
as long as you have the proper paperwork.
Yep. I'm not taking a pony on a plane.
No, I don't want to have a pony.
I'd have a pony. You wouldn't have a pony.
I wouldn't have a pony.
But I would have a pony.
So,
I've got diagonal lines on this rope. Neatness doesn't count. And we're going to highlight it. We're going to take a little bit of warm white. And I'm going to thin it out quite a bit. And then in between all of those, if you've watched the one about doing the video about doing the honeycomb or the beehive, I go in between with a little highlight. Just like that. Super simple. It just creates a little texture on this rope. And I like changing the directions because it makes the rope a little bit more interesting, I think.
where do you put the pony on the plane?
Put it in the overhead.
Sure.
I saw the hoops he had to jump through to get Dot on an airplane.
Oh,
and she's, got more qualifications than most people.
yeah, that was not fun.
No.
But she's classified as a medical service dog. She's classified as a narcotic service dog, search and rescue service dog,
Yeah.
and emotional support service dog.
Yeah.
So she's got tons of qualifications, which all have lapsed now because medically she cannot fulfill those services anymore.
Yeah.
But
Whatever.
I'm not traveling. I'm not running around in places that require her to be there all the time.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so I just wanted to darken a couple of shadows here because they were looking a little sketchy.
Where are your products sold? Oh, that's easy. TracyMorrow.net.
Yep.
Go check it out. All sorts of goodies.
Mm-hmm.
There's patterns. You can get them digitally.
Yeah. And there's, I don't know how many videos we have available on the YouTube channel now, but there's lots of them.
I can tell you. I think you're well over. I think you're almost at the 200 mark.
Wow.
I think.
That's a lot. So I've got the rope done. We've done our thing with the shells. I do want to put a couple of shadows in because I'm thinking I missed them the first time around. I'm going to grab a little bit of Prussian blue and a little asphaltum. There's my Prussian blue.
What kind of dog is Dog?
Dot? Dot is a Dutch Shepherd.
She is a Dutch Shepherd, which is kind of like a German Shepherd just on meth.
Yeah.
Smaller than a German Shepherd.
Yeah, she's a little smaller.
And a lot more
high energy.
Yeah.
She's very, very smart. Sometimes too smart for her own good.
Yeah.
And as we said, she's a paraplegic. She has her own spiffy wheelchair.
She has an autoimmune disease.
Yep, that attacked her spinal cord.
Yeah. Content. That's probably the button I should click.
So I've got a little bit of Prussian blue in there to shade around the bottom underneath my seashells. And I'm going to add a little shading up here underneath the seashell here and at the top of our post with a little bit of asphaltum just to deepen that and define our shell a little bit. I'm going to put a little shadow underneath the rope. Of course, it could be a little tidier. That was a mess. There we go.
That didn't help at all. It didn't give me a number.
There's lots.
There's lots.
There's lots. That's the best I can do. There's lots. Okay. So now that we've gotten to this point where we have our post shaded and whatnot, we can throw a little asphaltum in over these blue areas just to deepen them a little bit, and it'll tie it all to this background. And I got to make sure for this next step, I got to make sure that everything is well dry, because we're going to use that gel pen to add a little bit of detailing to this.
Oh, wasn't Gray Matter's palette there from Patrick?
Yes, Patrick Penniff sent this to me.
Yes.
I love him.
He got it on Amazon.
He found it on Amazon.
The paper she's using is called Gray Matter's palette.
And it's my favorite palette, but
It's hard to come by.
it is very hard to come by for me anyway. I know Dick Blick carries it. But shipping from Dick Blick to me is horrendous. So I, unfortunately, have not been ordering from them. I'm using my black gel pen, my Uniball Signo, just to add a few little details to this. I love this sketchy line. It's a me thing. I do love my gel pen. I like that detail. So I like adding, some sketchy stuff to the outside of my shells. The little lines. If you want them in there, go ahead and put some in. I just find it adds a nice little touch to this. But again, if you're not into it, don't do it. Not everybody does. That's fine. It's not a requirement.
Yes, Dot did find Peanut. Yeah.
Yes, out on one of their walks.
Out on the walk, just after a good storm, actually.
Yeah. The little guy probably got blown out of a tree or out of his nest. So I take my little gel pen. If you follow me at all, you know that this is my favorite thing ever. I like that sketchy line. I find it just softens things. It helps detail a few things.
Okay, so that answers my question. You have 125 videos.
Wow.
That's not including your members' videos.
Oh, right. That's just the lives.
Yeah, that's just all the publicly accessed videos.
Yeah. Nice. So I go around my seagull, and again, I keep the line sketchy. I'm not looking for a hard outline. I tend to shy away from that. And you can enhance those little feathers if you choose to. If you want to add a few extra little details, go for it. I'm kind of on board with that.
150 videos plus the eagle. Is it 150? Mine says 125. Oh, yeah, you're a member. You can see
you can see them all. So
you
yeah.
can see them all. So,
so that, as they say, is that. I like this. I like that little sketchy, soft line outside. It's indistinct. It's imperfect. It just makes things look a little more interesting.
what is leaky gut?
Leaky gut. I'm not.
I think we've lost conversation there.
Leaky gut is a problem with bacteria and whatnot leaving the digestive system and getting into your bloodstream.
Oh, it's a nutrition thing.
Yeah, it's a nutritional issue.
My little Yorkie was diagnosed with leaky gut syndrome.
Yeah.
Oh, poor thing. Past week was been stressful to say the least.
Aw,
Poor
poor
Pop.
puppers. Always so sad. So there we go. We've got our bird our gull, our seagull. I think he's a rather dapper looking fellow.
He needs a
Gentlemanly.
top hat and a monocle.
Top hat and a monocle.
Well, if you're going to make him dapper.
Yeah. So I'm just taking a little bit of thinned asphaltum, and I do mean thinned. I don't want this full strength. I just like to age all of that blue that I put down, all of that Prussian blue. And this little bit of asphaltum just ages it a little bit. Keeps it from looking too cold and too heavy.
Did I miss anything?
Mayhap.
Well, you didn't miss the food conversation.
No, because we haven't had it yet.
Yeah, so that's up next. We talked about Dot.
Yeah.
Some people were curious about how Dot is the way she is.
Right.
And how special she is. She's awesome.
Miss Dot is an awesome puppers.
Except you can tell it's going to rain soon because she has not moved since I put her in that bed.
No.
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 She didn't even follow Dad into the garage.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's saying something.
That's saying something that we're either in for a good thunderstorm,
Yeah. Well,
or there's a bunch of rain coming.
Yeah, Dot does not like wet weather, and I think it really bothers her when it's damp.
Yeah, I think it bothers her back, so she doesn't move as much.
Yeah.
So, what's for supper? Burgers. Oh yeah, we did have the food conversation.
Well, a little bit.
A little bit.
A little bit. So wherever I've put that Prussian blue, I'm just putting a quick wash of asphaltum. Just to tone that. I just like how it looks. That's just me.
Lettering time.
And it's time for lettering. My favorite. I love lettering. I love brush lettering. I love lettering. So I'm working with a number 2 rigger, and the color we're going to use, I'm going to change out my palette yet again because it's a travesty. We're going to use a little bit of country red for this. That's what the word C is going to be done in. I'm a fan. I love country red. It's my favorite red. And we're going to use a little bit of Prussian blue for the Life is Better up there. And my Prussian blue is nearly empty, so... And I need a little bit more than... There we go. Oh, maybe not. There we are. I think that's about done it. So the brush that I'm using is a number 2 faux squirrel rigger, or a 0. I meant to grab a 2. There we go. I've got a 2. So we're going to be using the country red. I'm going to thin it out with a little bit of that glazing medium. I want a really generously loaded brush for this. So there's going to be a fair amount of paint. And we're going to start at the top of the letter and touch to the surface. And then I press down and I open up the brush because look at how nice that brush will cut in when you open it up. So we get this nice, smooth red. Now this is one of the reasons that I use country red, because I love how opaque it is. It's one of the few reds that covers really, really well. Most reds are extremely transparent, and I just bobbled that a little bit. That little ridge is making it a little problematic getting around that corner. And I'm going to come right up against the bird's head. I love this red for lettering, especially on top of this blue, because it really pops. And that rigor is going to make painting these letters so much simpler. It'll give you a nice, clean, crisp lines. And the lettering should look really nice and smooth. Now, for this piece, we're not looking for perfect lettering because I put my paint, oh goodness. I put my finger in the red paint and I managed to get some on the head of the bird, so I'm going to have to come back and fix that. I don't know how I did that. So that number 2 rigger I can cover a fair amount of space in a single pull. Remember what I said about straight lines? I can get nice, clean, straight lines with a rigger. But you need a clean, straight line to paint up against. And if the lettering isn't put on straight, it's not going to be able to be painted straight. So make sure you keep coming back to that glaze to make sure your paint is nice and thin, so it's going to come off that brush very smoothly, which is the trick. Getting the paint to come off that brush smoothly is what's going to make a world of difference. And so a glazing medium like this one, the Jo Sonja's Fast Dry Glaze, you can use their Magic Mix too. That will do. I'm just partial to this one. And if you're having trouble finding it, you can get it from josonjas.com. You can also get it from Erica Joanne. She also stocks it. She has some. One of my favorite designers. I love Erica Joanne's work. She does just the most beautiful things. And she's such a sweetheart. Such a sweetheart. Now, remember what I said about the liner brush? To not look where you are, but look where you're going. The same applies with lettering when you're doing this. If you've got your paint thinned well so that it moves smoothly off of your brush, you don't even have to look where you are. You just look where you're going and you'll end up with nice smooth lettering. It does make a world of difference when you have good control over your brush. And that control comes with a couple of different things. It's practice, getting used to using a brush. Once you're accustomed to how a brush functions and how it works for you, and then getting the paint the right consistency makes a big difference as well. But it's one of those things that it comes with time. You learn over oodles of practice and lots of time painting what is going to work and what isn't. It took me years to discover that a rigger was going to be the ideal thing for me for painting lettering, because it has just the right spring, it has just the right release, it holds lots of paint, it has a nice square chisel edge, which most people think it's a liner, but it isn't. And so we have nicely painted red letters. Now I'm going to switch from the number 2 to a 0, and we're going to thin out that Prussian blue. And we're going to paint the Life is Better by the Sea.
Oh, I missed a bunch.
Did you miss a whole bunch of questions? You went for a coffee break. Or a dot break. Or is she sleeping?
Oh, she's in the garage with Dad now.
Oh, okay. With her buddy.
Yeah, just chilling. How about a vest with a watch fob?
Oh, that would be cute. What a great idea.
With a pocket watch?
Wouldn't that be cute? Seagull with a vest. I think a puffin with a vest and a pocket watch would be adorable.
Oh, no. Puffin's got to have a top hat.
I did an owl with a vest and a pocket watch once upon a time.
Yes.
Mr. Hoot's Apothecary.
I'm going to my nephew's graduation barbecue this evening. Congratulations.
Nice. Congratulations.
Hamburgers, hot dogs, potato salad, of course.
Yum.
An ambrosia of some sort.
Ambrosia, yeah.
Baked beans, mac and cheese. And who knows what else.
All comfort foods, all the best stuff.
Yes. Do you sell the brushes? No.
I don't, but I do have a coupon code for you. You can go to thebrushguys.com and then you can pick out what you want. Now, I'll tell you something about the Brush Guys. They are a big distributor of Dynasty Brush, and so the brushes that you find on their website are already at a very heavily discounted price. And then you can use the coupon code TracyM, and that will give you an additional discount off of their already great prices. So,
where's Soot?
well, we know she's not here because it's quiet. We have a cat that really thoroughly enjoys the acoustics of the upstairs bathroom.
Yes. Why does Renee not like ponies? I don't like equine.
He doesn't like horses.
And I didn't know I was afraid of horses until I was in my animal behavior studies course. And we went to a farm. And we were talking about horse behavior.
Yeah.
And I found myself not being able to go any closer than 10 feet to a horse. I just couldn't. I was terrified of them. They're a big animal. They're very intelligent.
Extremely. I love horses.
But, yeah, it turns
I
out...
also grew up around them, so I'm not afraid of them, but...
Turns out I'm afraid of horses.
They can be intimidating, especially when they stamp their foot and snort at you and... You know.
But
that's what they want to be.
I was working the exhibition.
Yeah.
And there was a big Clydesdale.
Beauty.
And I did pet it. I did get close enough to pet it. And that was that.
I love horses, always have, but horses and cows. I used to love the spring calving season.
Oh, yeah.
Oh. Is it be standing in the barn with all of these calves and they'll come up and they'll suck on your fingers and they're so sweet. Calves are so sweet. Foals are so sweet.
I have no problem with cows. I could walk up to a cow, pat it on the head, and walk away, and the cow's just, huh? What's going on?
Oh, don't underestimate cattle.
No,
They're smart.
They're smart too. But for some reason, horses scare me.
Don't know.
I think it's an understanding that they are a very large, intelligent animal.
Yeah, could be. They are intimidating.
What was the surprise you were going to tell us about brushes last week? Reference brushes last week.
Oh, that was the Fandangos.
It was the Fandangos.
Yeah, we had the Fandangos in the giveaway. And on next Saturday, we have Fandangos again. We have Fandangos. We have fun stuff. And so all I used the rigger to do the larger portion of the lettering, and then I just used I think it's a 10-aught. Yep, my 10-aught liner to do the connective portion of it. So I'm going to dry this. Then we're going to quickly shade and highlight our lettering. And then I'm going to fix this little blob of red paint that I have on my seagull.
I got a gypsy horse because they are very mellow and friendly. Leaving to go to my alumni.
Oh my.
55 years.
Wow. So I'm going to...
I don't know if...
fix this because this will drive me insane. I'm just going to pity pat a little bit of white paint over top of that and then dry it real quick. And then I'll do it again. Sometimes it just makes more of a mess if you try to cover it up. Sometimes it's just simpler to paint right over when you make a mess of something like I did just here. I get a red fingerprint on his white head. There we go. All gone. Bye-bye. Okay. So, shading on this lettering. You can use lamp black or you can use Prussian blue. Because I have Prussian blue on my palette, I'm going to use that. I'm going to thin it out quite a bit. I don't want this full strength because it's a strong color. And I'm going to put a shadow on the back side of the lettering here. I'm coming in from the edge of the S just a little bit so that we have like a little space of red in there. So there is my shadow. I'm going to do the same thing to the vertical on the E, like so. And I'm going to do that to the inside of the tilt on this A. Again, these shadows and highlights do not need to be perfect. Put a little one in there, and on the back of the E. And now we're going to put a highlight on this lettering. I'm going to switch over to my, I thought I had a 3/8, there it is. Switch over to my 3/8 and I pick up a little bit of warm white. And again, I'm going to thin it out. And I'm going to put a float of that warm white. And again, I'm leaving a little space, like so.
Okay. Ladies and Renee, and I think there was another gentleman whose name escapes me now. It's probably Patrick or Edward.
Yep, Patrick or Edward.
Have a nice weekend. See you on Facebook this week. Take care, everybody. Big hug to you all. That's from, oh yeah, that's from Patrick.
Okay. Patrick, stay safe.
Mind you, I haven't seen Edward in a while.
No, I think Edward's been busy.
Has he been painting?
Well, I don't know. I think he's working in his gardens.
Ah.
So I've got my little highlight. Again, I'm not really worrying too much about whether or not these highlights are perfect or even in the right spot, because honestly, it doesn't matter for this piece. And I'm going to add a stroke of warm white just in from the edge on that highlight. Just like so. Super easy.
Who makes the liner brush you use?
These are all the brushes I use are made by Dynasty. The liner that I use is the Dynasty Micron. They are the very small detail brushes. They're fabulous. And all of those are available from the Brush Guys. If you are a fan of Dick Blick, you can also order brushes from Dick Blick. However, the coupon code does not work for Dick Blick. So that's why I sent it to the Brush Guys. Okay, so lettering is done. Shading, highlighting is in. We've got to put
some detail,
some spattering in, and then we're going to have some fun with the edges of this piece because I couldn't resist. So I'm going to spatter with a little bit of warm white first. And I'm kind of generous with it. I kind of like it. Looks a little weathered. So got to get lots of that warm white on there. And then I'm going to rinse my brush because I believe you need to have lots of interest in here. I'm going to spatter it with a little bit of Prussian blue. Just like so. I like that aged look that spattering gives it. And then we're going to create a nice chipped edge. And this is the fun part for me. I love this, doing this, because the first time I saw this done, Chris Hoy was doing it. She had done it to a really nifty patriotic piece that I thought was really cool. And so I'm going to dry this really quick.
When is the members class? This Tuesday coming up.
Yep, 24th, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it's so exciting. Doing dragonflies. So we need to get a little bit of lamp black paint on my palette. And I need a round. There we go. Look at that.
Oh, somebody just noticed.
What?
You didn't finish your background.
Didn't finish my background. Oh, with the diamonds. Yeah, I'm not there yet.
Oh, you're not? Okay. So it's foreground.
Yeah, it's foreground. So, actually, I think I'll do that first.
Yeah.
Just to finish the edges. So, I like this little bit of interest in here. This is just a little bit of stenciling. I just like it because it breaks up a little bit of that negative space that's in there. I'm not one for negative space.
Would the spattering be seagull poop?
You could call it that. If you are so
Are you going to be
inclined.
using asphaltum and titanium white?
I actually, for mine, I used the Prussian blue and a little bit of titanium white because I like the blue in there.
Okay.
If you want to use the asphaltum, go for it. It's not going to hurt anything. Okay, I know I had another stencil brush. There we go.
What is the coupon code for Deb?
It's Tracy M.
Tracy M.
I do believe, yep. Or Tracy 10. I'm not sure.
Try them both. See what happens.
It's either Tracy 10 or Tracy M. I'm not sure which.
How is Deb doing? I haven't seen her in a while.
Well, she was on holiday last week.
Oh, was she?
Yeah.
She was in Calgary?
No, they were up in the Rockies.
Oh, nice.
Visiting with their family. Doing the wilderness kind of thing. So I'm using a little bit of warm white and a soft touch, circular fashion, change directions frequently. I am not looking for fully opaque, solid diamonds. In fact, I don't want them to be solid. I kind of want them to be indistinct and incomplete, and so I'm not really paying a whole lot of attention to them. So that way I get sort of a translucent look. They're soft. They don't bury anything. And I want to tuck them in a few places. Again, I'm not too worried about whether or not they're fully opaque or perfect. I prefer that they're not. It just makes things more interesting. So it gives us a little bit of pattern, but it's not a chunky pattern. And then I'm going to put some up here.
What do we need to have done before the class?
Base coat your surface warm white. That's it.
Boom.
There's a post up on the Facebook page that tells you what the prep is. There's not much. Yeah, just base coat the surface white. And we're going to have some fun with it. And we have some nice prizes for membership class. So, again, I'm really not worried about whether or not these diamonds are perfect, opaque. I rather prefer that they're not.
I could base coat everything and still can't keep up with Tracy.
I know I paint very fast, but that's
She
why
can't even keep up with herself.
I get ahead of myself sometimes. So yeah,
I've seen her do it.
yeah.
I've seen her paint. And oh, oops.
I get a little excited. So I've got my diamonds in place. I really like that they're indistinct, imperfect. They just fill up a little bit of that negative space back there. So now we're going to create sort of this chipped paint look along the edges, and we're going to do that with a little bit of thinned lamp black. And this is how you do this. It's crazy simple. So I've got my brush loaded with paint, and I'm just going to sort of push it, pull, and roll the brush along the edges so that it creates this sort of broken look like that. I'm not... So push, pull, and roll, push, pull, and roll. So it breaks up the edges of this. And if you don't want big chunks out of it, take a little more care and a little more control and just sort of jiggle it along the edges. I'm rather partial to a little drama. So I like it to have, more of a broken look. along the edges. So you can have gaps where it's hardly anything, and then you can do, a bit more aggressive if you want to, or a little less. That's entirely up to you. I like a combination of both. So just roll it along, push, pull, and roll the brush so you get it, and then reload. So what you end up with is this chunky looking border all the way around the outside.
Unfortunately, the rigger brushes on Brush Guys are out of stock.
Again? Okay.
Anybody else?
You can check Dick Blick. They may have them in stock.
Dick Blick Stockade carry Dynasty brushes?
They carried the black gold, not the faux squirrel. Maureen Baker. .com. So it's maureen-baker.com. She's also a Dynasty brush distributor, so she will most likely have what you need if she has any in stock. So
Michaels
does not carry Dynasty.
No.
Nope. And if you're in Canada, countrybear.com or .ca. So I'm just sort of push-pull so that it doesn't take on a too heavily patterned. You don't want this to look like it was done with a machine. You kind of want this to have a sort of a random look to it, which appeals to me. And I'm met all the way around. Boom. So then I'm going to use my heat gun to dry this, and then we have one last step.
Not done yet.
One last step for this piece. This is a fun piece to do.
Sandy McTeer.
Sandy McTeer. There you go.
Yeah, go see Sandy.
Yep.
She's got the riggers. She's probably got a bunch of them.
I hope so. I love my riggers. So, and then I have a staple that I use. I use my black gel pens all the time. I use the red ones for tracing. And then for the highlight on this, you can do this either way that I'm going to show you. So you can do this with a liner if you want to. Or you can do this with a Uniball white opaque pen. I like using the pen simply because it's super easy. And you're going to put a white highlight all along the edge of that black edge that you just created. So just trace it with the white gel pen. Or you can do it with a little bit of thinned warm white and a liner brush if you so choose, but I'll tell you the pen is a hell of a lot easier. Now to finish this guy up, I habitually spray everything 2 light coats of DecoArt's matte spray, primarily because I use so many different mediums. I never know for sure how something is going to react to being varnished, and because I use ink in a lot of these. So I prefer to use a couple of coats of matte spray before I varnish, just to make sure that everything stays where I put it and that I don't end up smearing ink or paint or what have you all over my finished piece when I brush on varnish. So 2 coats of matte spray once this is all done. And Bob's your uncle, Sally's your aunt.
And you can get the gel pen in white, black, and red on tracymoreau.net.
Yep.
There's already people asking where to get the pen. Where do I get my rigger?
I love this pen. One, it works really well on a painted surface. Don't have too many issues with them. Some pens, get sticky and drag and whatnot. I haven't really seen that with this one. Works like a hot damn. And it's a nice little highlight on the edge of this. Finishes it off really nicely. As I said, the first time I saw this done, it was Chris Hoy that did it. And I thought it was just such a clever way to finish a piece, to give it a little character. I just really loved the technique. And then I added the white highlight with the pen for myself. But I do credit Chris Hoy with this great idea for this finished edge, because I just think it's a really clever way to finish something.
Believe the pattern is called Friends in My Garden for the membership, right? Dragonfly, Friends in My Garden.
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah.
And it's in the, if you're a part of the membership group, the pattern is in the members download section on my website. You can also download your printables that we put up this week and whatever other goodies you want to download in there. There's all kinds of stuff in there for our members. And we add stuff. Usually about once a week we put something new up there. It can be a free printable, or it might be a set of line drawings. We put the challenges and whatnot in there, so everything is still in there, so you can go and download at your leisure. If you're a member, the pattern for Tuesday's class will be up until the end of the month, and then the pattern for the month of June will be available on June 1st.
How do you spell the brush? R-I-G-G-E-R.
Yep. So, there, my little white pen made it all the way around. I love how that finishes it. Just makes it look like a nice piece of distressed wood. So I'm going to dry this real quick. Now, the only thing left to do for this piece is to sign it. And then it will go out to the garage for a couple of coats of matte spray.
Boom.
Boom. And that is our
Yay.
Life is Better by the Sea. I love this piece.
Boom.
But I love it.
Ta-da.
And you still have a door prize to draw for.
I do.
Yes.
I do.
So if you haven't hit that share button already, now is a great time to do it.
Yep.
Surfaces. We have a whole bunch of those arch panels and the signs and the 8x10s. We have tons of those, and we put them all on sale this week. So if you're looking for those surfaces and the little tags, we have everything is on sale this week. So now would be a good time. There is a secret coupon code on the website. So if you're out shopping, have a look around. You'll find it. It's up there. And then just type in your coupon code before you check out. That way you get a little extra discount off of things. Oh my goodness. So we're trying to, we did bring in quite a bit of the Tombow product. I brought in the mechanical pencils, which are my favorite. I absolutely love them. They have a really nice weighted, they have a nice balance to them because they're weighted, and they're an absolutely phenomenal drawing pencil, ideal for designing for whatever you're doing. And we also brought in the professional drawing set, which is just, there's 3 pencils in a set. But they're just great pencils for drawing. And we've also brought in the knock erasers. This is my favorite. I love this thing. This is a knock eraser. It looks like a mechanical pencil, operates like a mechanical pencil, but it's got this great eraser inside of it. I fell in love with these. So between this and my Factus Black, I absolutely love my erasers, and this one is just fantastic because you can get into all those little tight spots without erasing everything, which is great.
Okay. We has a wheel.
And how many names do we has on the wheel?
158.
Nice. So 158 people shared the video. That's fantastic.
All right, let's click.
Love the wheel.
Oh, no. Sorry, Stacy Katz, you're not on there.
Oh, no.
You missed it. Carolyn Colwell. Carolyn Colwell.
Colwell. Carolyn Colwell's a winner. I think Carolyn's won before.
Is she?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the great thing about it. If you're here every Saturday, if you join us every Saturday, the more often you're here, the more better chances you have of winning something. Again, prizes this week. A great stamp set from Stampendous. It's birds, and it has the matching set of dies. So if you're a paper crafter, you're going to love it. And then there are Dynasty and Caustic brushes in there, one round, one flat. Plus there's some other little goodies from us that we throw in as well. So you've got that coming to you. Approximate retail value is about $30 US. So it's a nice little prize pack. We're very fortunate that we have great support from companies like Stampendous with Painting with Deb, the Brush Guys, Dynasty Brush, Decawart, and quite a few more. So they are the reason that we are able to have these giveaways every week, which is fantastic. And we love the fact that you guys come and join us too. So that is it.
Everybody's saying congratulations. Look at that.
We painted it. We finished it. It is Life is Better by the Sea. This is a really fun project to do. It looks complex. It's really not. And it allows you to make a few mistakes and they just sort of fall into it in the end. So if you want to have a little bit of fun with some texture medium, some modeling paste, or whatever you have on hand, even if it's just gesso, it will work to create those really fun textures in the feathers. So go and grab some paint, grab a little bit of gesso and big old filbert brush or whatever you have handy. And
Somebody's driving from Georgia to Florida.
Georgia to Florida, that's not a long drive.
Not a long drive, but apparently she was watching it. Well, not watching us, listening to us.
Oh.
While she was driving
While she
from
was
Florida
driving.
to Georgia.
Well, I'm glad you weren't watching.
Florida to Georgia.
Yeah. But I do appreciate you joining us. As long as you do it safely, that's all that matters.
Yes.
So you get home safe or get where you're going safe. That's even more important.
Yes.
For next Saturday, we're going to be doing something festive, methinks. I had my Christmas hat on this week.
Uh-oh.
I know. So I'll see what I come up with
Are we doing
this
something
week.
Christmas?
I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, I've got a couple of ideas for this week. I think we might continue the summery, beachy theme too, because I have a couple of designs laid out for that. Because,
It's 2 weeks in a row?
It's 2 weeks in a row. 3 weeks in a row.
2 weeks in a row that you haven't done a flower.
I know.
Just saying.
I know.
I'm proud of you.
Are you? Okay. I like painting flowers. What can I say? But not everybody does. I have to remember that every once in a while. So I do like doing this kind of still life, though. These kind of beachy themes are fun.
Well, you did a lighthouse last week.
I did a lighthouse last week, and we did the
seagull
seagull this week. I'm working on a couple of other little things that...
Oh, the next thing you have to do, it's part of every beach experience.
What's that?
It's the middle-aged man in a Speedo.
No. Absolutely not. Like middle-aged man in a Speedo.
It's a beach creature.
It's creature's a good word for it. Anyway, so we're going to have a little fun next weekend. I'm not entirely sure what we're going to be painting, but we are going to be painting something. So come and join us then. We're always at the same time every day or every Saturday. We're here at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time or 1 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time, which is ours. And if you're new to us, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and then turn on the bell notification so that you get a message when we're posting new video or when we're going live. You can watch us both on Tracy Morrow Live or you can watch us on YouTube. Either one will work just fine.
Oh, no.
I try to have the pattern for every Saturday up before Thursday. I kind of missed the mark a bit in the last couple of weeks, but I will try to get it up by midweek if at all possible this week. And
sea turtle.
A sea turtle. Turtles are cute.
Sea turtles.
Turtles would be fun.
Flowers, yes. Congratulations to all the winners.
Yep. All right, guys, that is it for us this week. Thanks so much for joining us. We really do appreciate it. Hope you had some fun and that you learned something today. And with a little bit of luck, we'll see you again next week. That's it for me. Mwah. Love you. Please stay safe.
I was half expecting the CBC sign off.
No. No.
No. And that's how the cookie crumbles. Walter Cronkite.
Walter Cronkite. Okay.
No matter what we paint, we learn a lot, and we'll... Oh, God.
Goodness.
When I hit subscribe, it wants me to join Google.
Yeah, you have to have a Google account in order to subscribe to the YouTube channel. So that kind of, it's all encompassing. YouTube and Google.
Ta-da. Seahorse? Not saying anything. Bye.
Bye.